Greetings, and welcome to GatherVerse Tech for Humanity Summit, South America, 2025. What do we know about South America? For those that have traveled, those who haven't, what do we know about the culture of South America? What do you know about its water, its soil, its produce, its technology, its people, its culture? What do we know about Africa, Europe, Asia, North America? Even when we occupy such spaces and places and time, what do we really know? We come together to be able to arrive at this intersection of emerging technologies and humanity, to be able to explore not just innovations in products, platforms, and protocols, but more so to be able to understand what it is about the people that have innovated and that have made a difference. Those that have experienced a difference. And those that are here to share a story. We meet under the banner of Humanity First standards of accessibility and education, equality, community development, safety and privacy, wellness and ethics, care and compassion. This is where we meet. We've arrived with those that have come near and far from around the world to speak and share in human expression of community centricity about the things they've seen. We are in the most accelerated and advanced time of emerging technologies as we've ever known. In particular, yes, we'll talk about artificial intelligence, but there are hundreds of other technologies that abide within the ecohabitat itself. Most to us are unknown. And an amalgamation of these technologies pairing together, of the merge pairing, and through technological convergence, we're seeing new applied sciences that aren't written in novels, that aren't nearby in frameworks for a point of reference. They're altogether new to our eyes and experiences. What happens when the technology becomes more advanced than the technologist? I posed this question years ago, and now this has come to pass. And what about the internet of the earth, the regenerative state and mycelium networks? They were here long before us. I suspect they'll be here after us. What do we know about South America? What do we know about Earth? We've assembled over 100 speakers from around the world to be able to share a different lens perspective of view. Those who care about where we find ourselves today when it comes to human betterment, civilization, and social sustainability. We're happy to have each of you that are with us at GatherVerse.live for this intimate gathering. This is our final summit of this 2-month series. We've been climbing a mountain. We have yet more to climb. We have those willing hearts that have come out to be able to journey with us on this trek, this path, this forest, to chop this wood, if you will. Experts and professionals who've seen something, who have felt something, who has something to express to us of perhaps which we haven't even taken time to consider, and perhaps we have considered, and to know that you aren't alone. That every moment is precious. That if we do not get a hold of what it is that's being innovated in this world, that if we aren't the ones to be able to help guide our elders, our seniors, our children, our youth, towards next and better steps, safe steps, then what have we been innovating for all of these decades for? That too has purpose. We're so happy to be here with each of you. Tell a friend, tell a neighbor, tell a colleague that GatherVerse is live, it's here, and it's arrived to your window. This is the most extraordinary time of innovation we've ever known. The most powerful time of innovation we've ever known, and the time with the greatest opportunity. Why not take advantage of it? We don't have to dream about human betterment, about sustainability, about technology for good, planetary betterment. We have an extraordinary panel and a roster that's about to present to us things that I'm sure we've never heard before. For all of those that are streaming on YouTube and LinkedIn, Instagram, X, Blue Sky, and more, we greet you. For those that have never been to a GatherVerse, this is our 34th Global Summit. We have an amalgamation of series that are coming up. Incredible, filled and packed series that are coming to meet us. And there is much to be said, and we've barely just begun. In closing, if not us, to be able to meet at this intersection of emerging technologies and humanity, and if not us to carry this mantle, if we aren't the ones to demonstrate it, then who? And if we aren't the ones to share it, then who? And if we aren't the ones to carry that fire and to be able to prepare the arrival of generations to come, and if we don't teach them, then something else will. May our gather be well.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this panel about regenerative technologies and life-centered design. Welcome, everyone. Really happy to have you all here. I know some of you in person, so I'm really honored to have you here. Let's start just with a quick introduction from everyone. Maybe Melina can start.
Hello. Well, thank you very much for the invitation. I'm super happy to share this time and conversation with all of you and our audience. I am Melina Angel from Colombia, and I have been working with regeneration in territories, bioregioning processes, and from the living beings perspective, living systems perspective, I am biomimicry professional and specialist for applying the logic of nature to social systems. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Melina. Juan Jose, do you want to go?
Hi, everyone. Hi, Andrea. Thank you for the invitation and the conversation that we are going to have. My name is Juan. I'm the BI and data manager at Fireside Collective. I know that there are some differences between the experience that, for example, Melina has and me, because I'm actually at the backstage of the regenerative process, but it's been really beautiful understand how does the nature works and be aware about how the regenerative process can really create abundance, right? So that's about me, a little about my experience.
Thank you, Juan. Also, don't forget to share where are you from. I know Melina and Juan are from Colombia. Stephanie, go ahead, please.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. I'm originally from Belize and I currently live in Miami. I'm super excited to be part of this panel. Anything that we can do to help improve thriving communities is something that I am 100% behind.
Thank you, Stephanie. Ruben?
Hi, everyone, and hi, Andrea, for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm from Argentina, where I still live, in Buenos Aires, and I'm the co-founder of Antom. That is an investment firm that invests into early-stage startups that working in regeneration in the areas of agriculture, food, and land use. And besides our investment work, we also do a very active work in the development of the climate tech community in Argentina and Latin America in general.
Thank you so much, Ruben. Boris?
Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you all. My name is Boris. I'm from Colombia, and I'm the founder of Launchmoon. We are a data-first infrastructure that builds and gathers communities across Latin America in order for them to verify and activate their data. We imagine a place where data can actually be executed and every stakeholder can actually be connected. So it's a pleasure to be here. Happy to have a great discussion with you.
Thank you, Boris. Viviana?
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Andre, for the invitation. I am proud to be part of this group of panelists, and even more so when we talk about sustainability. I am Viviana Rondon. I work at the Los Andes University. I'm from Bogota, Colombia. I work at the Center of Entrepreneurship with many startups or entrepreneurs and projects about social innovation, sustainability, deep tech, health tech, and many topics. Thank you.
Thank you, Vivi. Charlotte? Go ahead.
Thank you very much. I'm maybe the furthest away. I am Charlotte Kemp. I'm in Cape Town, South Africa. But I work a lot with my futurist colleagues in South America and Latin America, where we're exploring how futures plans need to be very contextual and not just imported from other parts of the world. So I'm very interested to join the conversation and learn from you and share some of my experience as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Orestes?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me at this roundtable discussion. My name is Orestes Spirou. I come from Greece. I am located in the Netherlands at this moment. I am the CEO and founder of a company called GatherVerse. We are targeting digital transformation in a cross variety of sectors, from agriculture, healthcare, education, arts, and also currently we're exploring the domain of biotech. And my background is in biosystems engineering and mechanical engineering, and I have done my research this years towards the regenerative agriculture and how we can incorporate sustainable farming practices and digital technologies for the scope of eliminating the problems that they are already in the supply chain.
Awesome. Thank you, Orestes. Simeone?
So thank you for the invitation and really namaste, everyone. I'm a neuroaesthetic artist, an immersive director, and a somatic facilitator. My work lives at the intersection of ancestral wisdom, systemic design, and emerging technologies. I explore how our nervous systems, our ecosystems, and our cultural systems mirror one another, and how immersive and neurofeedback tools can help us restore that coherence. From an embodied lens, I often begin by saying there's no regeneration without regulation. So I'd like to offer everyone a piece of the most advanced piece of technology we can have, that is one exhale and one big inhale together, if you allow me to do so. So the invitation is to just let it go. And then with your next inhalation, intake all the energy of the moment of being together in this circle. Aho.
Thank you so much, Finally, I want to share to you my role here at GatherVerse. I kind of co-created this panel with you guys, and I was able to select the panelists and the questions. So I'm very, very happy to be able to guide this conversation. I'm also founder of Refi Collective. It's our company in Colombia, where we design regenerative business models and human systems in order to accelerate transitions in Latin America. Okay, so let's start with our first question. This will be guided to Melina and Ruben. What does regeneration mean to you in your field of work, and how can we embed life principles into the systems we design? Whoever
Melina,
wants.
you want to start?
Okay, well, what's regeneration? It's a biological process. Is the mindset of becoming part of the biosphere, becoming part of the living being we are in, and understanding that that's the base for evolution in these transition times. So for me, it's like the base of how we can embed life into everything we do. So to regenerate vitality, the lost vitality we have been passing through many centuries, let's say, if not millennia. And what we want to bring back is this ability of letting life passing through us, and that I think that that's the most important part of all. And from the perspective of the tropics, and I am not talking about the south of the global south and this kind of political divisions. I think that we need to talk about tropics and temperates and poles, because the energy of these parts of the world, we are more in contact with the sphere we inhabit. So when we talk about the tropics, we are talking about huge diversity, cultural and biological. And what we need to bring from life is all the knowledge that these collaborative processes of huge amount of relationships, that is the base of life on earth. We need to tap into that and understand that this is the base for life, and to recover the capacity of living in these complex relationships of many diversity, and not will really give us the possibility to regenerate us personally, and the organizations and the systems we live in and with. So for me, regeneration starts from the inside out, because we cannot pretend to regenerate life outside if our own life is not in harmony. And then to vibrate, like to emanate these frequencies of harmony with life, because life itself will give us the knowledge, the assertment, the assessment, the right thinking, the right creative thinking, and feeling to connect with this planetary evolution we are in. So that's my perspective for you all.
I think I share very much what Melina said. So just to probably I will put it in other words that are the ones that we normally use. That it's I think regeneration is related to health, and to health at different layers. So one layer, and it's the one that we work with most from Antom. It's let's say a environmental layer. So, and we understand that the regeneration is leaving things healthier than they were when you start working on them. So a regeneration project in that terms is to have projects that try to make a positive impact in the environment. Normally, that's very linked to other layers of health that are health in the society, to have a fair and society, and also, and in the end, everything is related to what Melina said in the end, that it's to its person health, to one own's health. So regeneration also, not sure whether it starts, but must come from inside. So and in our way, we actually start from these regeneration projects that normally work mostly with the environment at a productive level. And to finalize, I also take one of I like the definition of regeneration, that is to putting life at the center. So I think that kind of summarizes it all.
Thank you both for these beautiful definitions. I completely agree, and I feel your words. And sometimes we also kind of forgot that we are also nature ourselves, and our human cells are continuously regenerating as well. So starting from that insight and that self-consciousness, like if I'm able to regenerate myself and understand that process and feel that process, then I can also share it, right? And apply it to my projects and my work. So thank you so much. Let's go to our next question. What gives you hope about the intersection of humanity and technology? And how can we ensure that innovation truly serves life on Earth? So this question it goes to Charlotte and Viviana.
Okay, thank you, Andre. I think what gives me most hope about the intersection of humanity and technology is our ability as a species to use our tools, not just to survive, but to care, to help, inclusive, and to connect. Through history, technology has been an extension of our creativity, our compassion. For vaccines, for example, like pandemic, is a combination with technology and biological technology that saved millions lives on the world. Or other example is the internet, our cell phones, or in fact many equipment that allow people to communicate with others in seconds, in anywhere in the world. Um, Today, we're witnessing innovations that could radically transform our relationship with the planet and with each other. Clean technologies like solar and white energy and carbon capture are helping to mitigate the climate change. Artificial intelligence, when we use the responsible, is being used to protect dangerous species, support sustainable agriculture, and predict natural disaster in some cases. And the other use that we can use the artificial intelligence. Biotechnology is important because it's enabling us to cure previously untreatable disease and improve food security. In Colombia, we have, I know, many projects and startups that works in his laboratories with medicinal plants to cure health the persons or people, sorry. Digital education is democratizing access to knowledge, even in the most remote areas. These questions have two questions in the same questions. No? The second part of this question is how can we ensure innovation truly serves life on the Earth? I think that we have some key principles. One is ethic by designs. I think that embed ethical principles from the very beginning of technological development, considering social, environmental, cultural impulse or behaviors of people, include the phase, the things importance of sustainability, economical, social, and environmental. Diverse participations. I think that is important in both diverse communities in the creation and evaluation of technologies, especially those historical marginalized, the population of poverty, for example. Critical education is other thing that is important. Foster an informed public that can question, understand, and participate in technological decisions. I think two is responsible educations, develop legal frameworks that encourage innovation with protect human rights. I think that is important, underlined that innovation, we have to fail in love with the problem, know the solution.
Thank you so much, Vivi. Charlotte, please go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. I feel like with technology, there's an assumption that any of the problems we have in the world can just be solved by somebody's technology. And if you look around the world at the different problems and issues that we have, we do find that there are technologies around or systems to actually deal with all of that. So every problem we have, there is actually a response to it. But we haven't really synchronized that. We haven't been able to tap into what is available. And that's because technology is an amplifier. It's going to make louder whatever is at the foundation of what we're doing. So we need conversations exactly like we're having now, where we have this philosophical reflection about what kind of a system do we want, what kind of a world do we want, and then we can be guided, that the technology can be guided by that wisdom. So we can use technology to scale empathy instead of scaling exploitation, which is what we're seeing far too much technology being used for. It seems in a lot of conversations we have, people are trying to work out how to serve the technology. How do we write for the algorithm? How do we respond to artificial intelligence? We're not supposed to be responding to the technology. The technology is supposed to be serving us to achieve what it is at the foundation of what we're trying to achieve. But people get it the wrong way around because we're moving too fast and we're just trying to keep up rather than defining what kind of world we need to have in. So we need to understand, who benefits from the technology we're using? What kind of a future are we designing with this technology? Or how can we put some things aside to use the technology that will actually help us design the future that we want to be in? That's the response. I'll give you one quick example. In Africa, there is a platform called M-Pesa. It's a mobile-based financial services system, but not run on smartphones like iPhones or anything like that. It's based on old-fashioned text phones. So people can text financial transactions. And what that means is that people have been able to use that technology to access banking, which a huge portion of the entire continent of Africa have not had access to. But now they can access banking, they can access savings, investments, they can pay school fees, they can send money back home, all through this text-based technology, because that technology was used to serve them rather than just investing their time and intelligence on making somebody's app deliver their pizza faster. The actual intention was to serve people, not just to serve profits.
Amazing. That's a great example. Can you spell the name of that company, please, Charlotte?
It's M-Pesa, so M-P-E-S-A, and there's a little dash between the M and the P. M-Pesa. It was started in Kenya as part of one of the cell phone companies, but a tech service that they offered. from that.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, you both, for your answers. It's really, really important to, have in mind that these technologies we are creating, it's kind of, we create them and they also interact with us and creates like a feedback loop, right? So the more we design human-centered and life-centered technologies, the more we are going to also improve our values, this redistribution of finance, for instance, like the example you mentioned. So I think these are great. This is a great conversation. Let's continue to our next question. In what ways can immersive, artistic, or spiritual experiences help reconnect humanity with the intelligence of nature and foster collective well-being? This question is for Simeone.
Thank you. Thank you. Where to start? I'd like to touch on everything that's been said and nail down into this. Everything we said is about meaning making, making sense of a vision, but that cannot be actually received by any humans unless we have capacity in our nervous system. No vision can truly land unless the body and the collective feel safe, to stay with it. So that's something I really wanted to say, and together with language. Lakoff said something very beautiful about metaphors not being decorative, but being the architecture of life and culture. So until we continue using words that scaling up, moving forward, rising above, all of those continue to perpetuate extractive postures. And therefore, the technologies will always be reflecting and mirroring those postures. So I'd like to talk about grounding. I'd like to talk about spiraling, like replacing here and there some, like going up with rooting, pushing with pulsing, growth with grounding. And so from that perspective, certain technologies can bring well-being for several reasons. One is because the collective rituals were the ancient technologies. So we have it also in our ancestral memories to do certain things that, for instance, bring a lot of serotonin through the vagus nerve to the 5-HT2A receptors. We have it. We have it in plant medicine, and that's something similar happening to our brains when we, for instance, connect via immersive technologies like VR, right? Or AR and other technologies that are able to sort of fine-tune the brain with new scenarios. I like what Baudrillard said, a simulation is just as valuable as the value that people attach to it. So we can use it not to create a dystopic reality, but a hyper reality that can be conducive to well-being. But something that is really and equally important from my perspective to bring in the discourse about art and healing, art is our homeostasis. Our brain is a constant predictive and creative machine, right? So we thrive in art because creativity is the most advanced form of hope, because hope is tuning into something that we either have forgotten and don't remember, or we think it's bringing in something that wasn't there. I was about to use the word innovating, and no, bringing in something that wasn't there yet. So, but the reason why I think technology and art can really bring healing is when you don't try and use it to extract, but you try and make people's emotions and contributions the real content of the experience. When you allow through technology to go from empathy to compassion, I like what Brené Brown says in one of her talks. She goes, empathy is when somebody's down the pit and you go, oh, I'm sorry, I'd love to help you. Compassion is, here's my hand. So technology from that perspective can be that hand. But for that to happen, the spaces, at least this is my humble perspective on it, the spaces need to reflect this idea that biofeedback is bringing you into your inner world. It's not a gimmick to just show you that some fancy data on a screen. So when that happens, and when the language is aligned, and when these experiences are created with the idea of creating capacity. So create capacity in the nervous system means slowing down, allow people the time to reflect and take a pause and discard what doesn't want to be held for a moment and allow people to say, I'm fine with this. And also making people move across liminal spaces, spaces where silence is also part of the experience. I feel that from that perspective, technology can rewire, our brains and the collective brain, truly creating new synapses for pulsing new life into what we do, like to work with life, not even for life, and the last aspect of how spiritual experiences do that is because we tend to anthropomorphize everything. But when you are in a plant medicine experience, you are transcending the self in amazing ways, neuroscientifically speaking. And the most sticky thing is that you experience the ineffable, the ineffability of being one, that cannot be expressed through words, but can only be a lived experience. Yeah.
Thank you so much, love these words, and knowing your work with creating this VR experience and simulation through your spiritual experiences. I think it's an amazing way to reconnect that part of our spirituality and technology to create like a new kind of future, and to reimagine how we can co-create with each other these futures, not only one but many futures, right? Does anyone want to answer this question, or should we move on to the next?
I think I can have like a small addition, like a very fast one. First of all, I would like to thank all of you for your answers also, like they're really inspiring. And also, Simeon, thank you very much for the embodiment exercise in the beginning, so we can have our common tune all together. I think that as an artist, also an entrepreneur, I'm a music producer and also a painter myself. I have also found ways to connect art and science, and also finding my inner self through my constant reflection, self-reflection via my artistic talents and abilities of my, let's say, higher self. And I think that they can help a lot by bringing via this embodiment transfer of your soul into that virtual environment can have many applicabilities for a cross variety of sectors, from healthcare, but also for education, either it's spiritual education with embodiment exercises, or education that has different type of forms. They can collect by having these experiences, I think we can combine the intelligence of nature by capturing also the nature and the sounds of nature via disruptive devices that they can make acoustically the frequencies of and the vibrations of the electrical vibrations of plant cells. So I think that creative boundaries are limitless.
Thank you so much, Orestes. Actually, I had this question for you next. So if you want to just jump in. So food culture and community are deeply interconnected. How might we reimagine our food systems as tools for healing, regeneration, and social transformation?
All right, so I am located in the city of Wageningen, where is the center of food and culture, because the city has a world-famous agricultural university, and I get experienced food and cultural input from all the sides of the globe. We can reimagine our food systems more human-centric, and with the creative tools that we have in our under our usage, we can promote the indicators of healing, regeneration, and social transformation by redesigning systems, either they are biosystems or social systems or food systems themselves. I don't know if someone wants to add also something on that, because I would like to also have shared input on that question.
What I can say here is, again, going into the systems of things. I feel that in the reality as we are living it and not living it through us, food has become some sort of commodity factor, which is not. And so I'd really like to go back to the idea that food is a ritual and life is a ritual, and a celebration of our health is the celebration of connection with nature. So until we do not remember that to be the case, and we see everything we do around it as not necessarily building a value chain, but truly reconnecting with the earth through food, and naming things properly, I feel that the way will be still long with or without technology. So what we can do is to be considering food as part of our ceremony of reconnection. And so these big movements of food at that point will become smaller movements of food, and we will be looking for local food because a relationship with that will be developed. But last but not least, there's something I am very much and very often encountered with. We need to remind people the importance of food itself. So I know it might sound simplistic, but food is not something to chuck down. It's a process, it's a very intricate process which the body goes through when a relationship with food needs to be completed. So whenever you ingest something, that's not limited to food, but there is a model behind it that is either extractive or integrative, right? So when people eat, my recommendation is that we consider that the food is making light life a way through you, and it's a process that starts right here, north to south. And so, these things, together with the properties of food and with the story and histories of food, can help us, like regenerate is a very beautiful word because it contains two very important subwords. Re, it means to do something again. So it's acknowledging that in the ancestral memory of what we do, there's something so valid, we want to repeat it. And generare comes from genus, meaning to give birth. So it's a big responsibility of that, of giving birth to something that has been, again. So that all of that is also food. That's what the point I'm trying to make. Like the point is that whatever we listen and say is food we ingest and we feed to others. So I feel those systems will inevitably reflect this big cultural and semantic, somatic change. You know, the word is, although being only vibration, is also something very physical. So yeah, I'll stop here because I want to listen to other people's opinions. But yeah.
So I would like to add something about the food that it, and first I love Simeone's comments about the importance of the wording. So I probably have to put far more reflection on the word that I will be using. But currently, most of the world's food is produced through monocultures and an intensive use of chemicals. So I think that when we reimagine what the regenerative food system means, it means using far more ecological knowledge and far more biodiversity in food production rather than only having massive amounts of land producing one single monoculture. And that will be very much related also to personal health, because currently, there are huge health problems because of the way and the intensive use of chemicals that we use when producing foods. So when we also think about how we reimagine the food systems and how they can be used as a tool for regeneration, when we think of these things, we think that if we transform our food system to be based in biodiversity, they will be both regenerative for the environment and much healthier for ourselves.
Definitely. Thank you for your wise words, all you three. This next question is for Juan Jose and Stephanie. Sorry, I kept you waiting for the end. But in your experience, how can storytelling and communication shift collective mindsets from scarcity to abundance, helping communities and organizations embrace reciprocity? No, it's complex.
Thank you for allowing me to be part of this esteemed panel. I love being on panels like this because as I participate, I also grow in my wisdom. I believe that how we tell a story determines whether we uplift or cause people to go down. So I'll start with the most recent story that I feel embodies this. We're in Ghana. We're working with DevHub Africa, and we're using our AI solution, AgroBoost Buddy, to increase farmer yield. And so the people on the ground are using our tool to supplement, to get information real time. And so somebody comes across a farmer who had burnt his farm down. And so the way they've decided to tell the story is very uplifting. So the farmer burns his farm down, and the team member uses Avatar Buddy, AgroBoost Buddy, to see how to respond. And the buddy responds by saying, being empathetic, sorry to hear that happened, then provides a local quote from Ghana. And then in addition to that, encourages the person not to feel bad about what just happened, but to go and seek others in the in a community to help and talk about unpacking what just happened, because burning your farm down basically means you're not going to be eaten for whatever period of time. Then the AI took the next step and said around how to make sure you don't burn your farm down, and then reminding the farmer to wait a few weeks because maybe there might be some growth that pops up before you just finish clearing the land. And so when I think about that, right, that communication style is uplifting. Something bad happened, and we acknowledge that something bad happened, but then we moved from sitting in the space of something bad to move into the space of what is possible. And it's when we talk in languages and use things around what is possible is when we really truly tap into the beauty and the power of not just our individual self, but our collective self. And we view the world differently. So the one second thing I'll share, and then I think I will have covered the story. So I have two mentees. I have been mentoring them since they were 10 and 13, and they're 26. And one of them last night sends me this video of these two guys that hitchhiked across the US, and I believe they did it this year. So and what they wanted to prove is humanity is still good. The stories that we hear on the news, the stories that are consumed with clickbait, are all humanity is dead. But this was humanity's good. And he says to me, I sent you this because, well, he said, I looked at it because you always see the good in everything, no matter what. And so I wanted to see what other people, how other people process that. And he said, and what it left me with is a reminder that I should get out of my bubble and I should meet new people. And what that is again, right, telling even the worst tragedy in a way that uplifts you really and truly creates the space for people to come from it from a position of abundance and be able to be reciprocal in how you interact. Because now he just shared this video with me that was shared with, and so we're both a little bit more enriched. And then I shared it on my LinkedIn post because I felt that it could not be shared even more.
Thank you, Stephanie. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to do it as fast as I can. I think that it depends because it depends the people who are we talking to, because the beliefs and their daily actions reflects the results of their daily behavior. And when we try to connect people, we have to create a way that two different communities or people, cities, persons, because at the end of the day we are people, how can the message can be like in the same frequency? Because at that point they can feel empathy, as Simon said about the compassion. So it's really important understand who are we talking to, and if these people want to really talk to, because there are people who don't want to be saved, right? They are happy with their daily lifestyles and it's okay, but we don't have to waste time and energy trying to connect with people who don't want to. I think that the people who are centered and naturalize their abundance and they want to give, not only receive, are the people who are like want to develop something more, you know? So it's really important, like select the group, be empathic too. If they want to create, it's okay. No one is forced to be be with us. But when we create a relationship based in confidence, in love, in abundance, the stories can be different.
Love it. And I think, and I can speak from each and every one of you, that in this panel we are connected in the way you're talking about, Juan Jose. We are synchronized and kind of willing to accept different perspectives, but also connected from our hearts to embody that meaning of regeneration in our own ways, right? But I think this was an amazing panel. Thank you guys so much for participating. Of course, happy that you connect and meet each other, because it's kind of different friends from around the world meeting together. We missed Boris, that he had to disconnect because he ran out of battery on his phone, but he's also an amazing investor, and in another panel we'll meet him as well. So thank you so much. You're always welcome here at GatherVerse. Really proud that we had the chance to connect and meet and had this amazing conversation, really profound conversation. Thank you, and we will meet again. If anyone wants to say one word to close this space, please share it now.
I'm honored that we have done this and we will continue to do this. The words I want to close by are very simple. Everyone, all the things we said are absolutely right, but everyone speaks the language of nature. Everyone can connect with the way a forest works. Not everyone can connect with the way mother of pearl can become a better concrete for the world, but there's a different thing. But that is the language we all have learned ancestrally. And perhaps that's the only moment, that of connecting with nature, where we let go of the perennial and persistent idea of scarcity that is embedded in our brains and bodies since our birth. You know, it seems to be a countdown to death to some extent. So I feel that ionization that happens when we are in nature is a language, is a space, a technology, is a ritual. It's pretty much everything we have. So that going back to it is perhaps the only way that is going to center all of us around the dance and the music and the rhythm of it.
I would say humankind is still positive. No matter what happens, humankind is still positive.
I will say, let's become observers of life.
Beautiful. Thank you.
I will add then that we should take more time for reflection like this one. I call it prophylactic philosophy. So have some philosophical reflection before we implement policies and technology, instead of afterwards when something goes wrong. So thank you for the space.
Thank you. Thank you for your time and for your thoughts. We will continue to talk, and our gather was very well.
Hello and greetings. Welcome to our first Fireside Chat, GatherVerse South America Tech for Humanity Summit. And thank you for the incredible panel that just did a wonderful and fantastic discussion there. Now, Onto our fireside. My name is Thane Gital. I'm the communications director for GatherVerse, and with me, I have the wonderful and lovely Golden, who we're going to talk about digital timelessness, building lasting brands in the age of AI. We're so happy to have you, Golden. But before we go into the chart, tell us who you are and why you're here.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I right now help founders and visionaries turn their messy ideas into structured systems. And so I like to tell people that I'm like their passenger princess on the journey of building their brand. I tell you where to go, what to do, things to set up, the frameworks that you need to move you and digital legacies that last, that can be built online. And so I don't really believe in chasing trends. I believe in refining truth until it shines. And I help visionaries and businesses plant seeds in the algorithm so they can future-proof their success post AI boom. So that's why we're all here today.
Wow, we're happy to have you here. Golden, there's so many people, there are many brands watching you right now. And something stood out from what you say. You don't believe in just building brands and passing time and making it as short as possible. And that is why we're here to talk about timelessness. So what do you think about digital timelessness? What does that mean for you in a very fast moving digital landscape?
Yeah, well, let me start by saying timelessness is not about being stuck in a time. And it's also not about refusing to change. So digital timelessness is actually having a core that's so clear, so stable, so unshakable that you can actually evolve without losing yourself. And I notice a lot of brands go through that where there is a shift happening and they make brand choices that really never aligned with their core values. However, one brand that I really love to point out when it comes to timelessness specifically is Hermes. They don't chase trends. That bag, it's always that bag from all the way back into the 1900s. They are still the same now. And so every refinement that they have to stay relevant in the present is all about the honor of what it already is. So it doesn't go to just change drastically into this thing to fit in. It keeps its foundation into the phases of change and refines and tweaks it a little bit to kind of stay relevant, but it never changes to the point of being drastic. So when I think about digital timelessness, I think, are you building something people return to and can trust, or are you just keeping up with everything going on around?
That's very reflective, and thank you for that example. You've also mentioned something that I want to pick up from there, right? Why do you think so many brands fade away? And what separates those that fade away very quick and those that are stay for long?
Most brands don't fade away because they didn't innovate. I feel like a lot of people right now are trying to stay relevant by embodying AI, by incorporating it some way, somehow into their business or their brand. But they actually fade away because they forgot who they were, right?
Yeah.
They fade away because they forgot who they were. They made choices that didn't align with their core brand values. And so I actually have a framework that I share with a lot of my talks. And so one of them is, it's a 5 failure model. And failure 1 is the loss of core values, like I mentioned. Brands fade away because they don't follow their core values. And one example is actually Jaguar back in 2024. Decades of British heritage, luxury performance gone in a second because of a choice they made because they're trying to keep up with the trends. Number 2 is cultural tone. If you don't understand your culture community that you're branding to and you're trying to get to be a part of their lifestyle, then you're going to actually do a huge disservice. So Bumble actually did a horrible disservice to this back in 24. They actually redacted one of their statements, but it was towards women. And that wasn't something that was aligned with the brand. And the choice they made, because at the time there's this big thing trending, and so they had to redact it. So they kind of lost a lot of points when it comes to that. Failure 3 is AI over being resilient. So people are just using AI to use it, but you need to be resilient in some aspects of your business model and your brand to not do it, because by the way, you'll just stand out even more. If everyone's using a thing and you're not, you're actually going to stand out more in the community. And so the last one is marketing versus reality. I like to talk about Kellogg's CEO. They said that people eat cereal for dinner to save money. The problem is Kellogg created most of its store brands from a disconnect. It was a PR crisis. So instead of saying, we're creating cereal to nurture and nourish the minds of households, they said, no, we're just selling cereal because people need to save money. And from there, their ingredients didn't reflect the timelessness of the brand. There was a lot of chemicals in it and didn't do a service to families. So that was a whole uproar. And so ultimately, I like to close that off just to say, like, brands that last, they fade away because they're making decisions that aren't from their core values, that aren't attached to the vision of where they want to be. And they ultimately just get lost in the chaos of news and trends. And so they know their why. It's important to know your why very deeply, because every change, every pivot, it's going to feel like who you are. People are going to choose your brand and your products because of who you are and what you stand for, not because of what's trending.
Yes, Goldie, I love your insight. I love them, and I love how you put it with those 4 frameworks. But here's 2 things. There's something here. Just follow me on that. You mentioned about values. Brands aligning to their values and never forgetting who they are. And we have something called AI. There is the temptation to use AI everywhere. Let's be honest. Everywhere, anywhere, the temptation is, how are you using AI to advance the business? And most businesses are using AI. So how do we find that perfect balance between adapting to change that quite first, and also staying rooted in your values and your why, and just remembering the journey itself?
When it comes to the journey and the balance of adaptability with change, the tension every founder kind of goes through, they feel like change is too much, you lose your identity, change is too little, you become irrelevant. So it's like, how do you walk that line, right? Well, I have a new perspective of change. I have a background in change management as a practitioner. However, the word I'd love to use right now when it comes to change is transformation. You want to transform to reflect what the future looks like, and not in a way of scarcity or survival, but in a way that you are thriving, right? I think of a butterfly, for example. The caterpillar, it goes through its cycle, it goes in the cocoon, it comes out a butterfly. It has new heights, it has new opportunities, right? That's a type of transformation that founders should start to kind of look into. And so one thing I would like to recommend would be to write down 3 things that changed yourself, meaning you changed because you didn't want to, you had to. And then write down 3 things that transformed you. Like, you were like, thank God I went through that change, because now I'm this person. Write down those 3 things. And then another thing is, write down 3 things you no longer recognize about yourself or your brand. So if there's something that you went through and your brand no longer is aligned with that, take that away. You're allowed to shift and refine, because these are going to be your non-negotiables. When you are operating from a place of this changed me and I didn't like it, this transformed me and I loved it, you're going to start to understand your decision-making skills when it comes to partnerships, when it comes to strategy building and brand awareness, especially when it comes to your audience as well. So balance isn't about standing like in the middle. It's about knowing your center and so well that you can change without taking over.
Without just maneuvering over. It's not about being just in a balance and being but just to close us off, we could go a long way with this, but just one more question. What risks do you think, or do you see founders in the future and now outsourcing too much of their voices from AI? I'm gonna just bring this AI over to you because I think it's the hot thing at the market currently.
Yeah, 100%. And I actually created a whole training for this, especially how to use like LLMs to sound like your voice in your brand. And one thing you want to understand is either you're going to partner with someone like myself who has a background in AI prompt engineering to help you navigate your brand voice with AI, or you're going to, learn that skill on your own. One thing I feel like every business owner or anyone who has a brand, building their brand, I feel like you all need to understand AI literacy. So taking some courses in AI literacy is super important at a beginner level, at an introductory level. It will help you with understanding how to communicate your voice in the brand. And I actually talk about 3 things on when you're using AI to create content for your brand. And that is your voice. So what is that? Is it a respectful tone? Is it a, down to earth, loud, fun tone? You got to understand your voice, your values, like we touched upon earlier, and then also your vision. If your vision doesn't align with the outputs AI is giving you, you need to be that critical thinker to change it and shift it out and use words. One thing you want to do is write a list of words that you want to be known for so the AI can start using it more. Those are my quick tips for using AI and making sure the brand voice is heard.
Thank you for sharing those quick tips. Now, our dear audience, you've heard from Golden. She has so many gems to drop when it comes to brands. I want you to do a favor. Please follow with her, interact with her, and our GatherVerse as well for this Fireside Chat. Thank you so much, Golden. We're looking forward to have you for She Summit, by the way.
Thank you, Lynn.
So yeah, our time was all spent. But to you, GatherVerse team.
Hello and welcome to GatherVerse South America Tech for Humanity Summit, day 1. Well, it's the whole day, of course. And it's great to have all the amazing panelists here. And it was great to have Lynn as well on the previous Fireside Chat. And I'm very excited about this panel because we're going to talk about nothing about us without us, every innovation for humanity. So this is a very interesting discussion, and as I can see, I've got the founder next to me to my right-hand side, or left-hand side. Wait, no, he's been moved. Never mind. So on this interesting discussion, we're going to be talking about every innovation for humanity. So please, everyone, if you could mute your microphones, just so we don't have disturbance or anything like that, or feedback, or any sort of like tech issues as we go throughout. And what we're going to do is do a quick introduction from each of yourselves, 30 seconds to 60 seconds, the introduction. And then once we had the introductions, then we'll go straight into the questions. So we'll start to my left, this side. Now you can see my thumb, I think. Nope, never mind. We'll start with Catherine. So welcome, Catherine. Great to see you again. And thank you for participating in the GatherVerse Tech for Humanity Summit all through the entire time. So thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, Russell. And hello, Christopher, and all the panelists that we've spoken with before and the new ones. I'm Katie Kavanaugh, founder of Screen 360 TV, a distance learning platform that presents short international films as tools for cultural literacy. And we're excited to talk about South America today because even the most eastern point of South America is only 4 hours ahead of Pacific Standard Time. So there's a lot of opportunity there for overlapping time zones and finding learning spaces between those time zones.
Catherine, again, thank you for joining us. I'm participating through the Tech for Humanity Summit. Up next, we have Dr. Bradshaw. Hello, and good to see you again. And also, thank you for participating through the entire time of the Tech for Humanity Summit. Please introduce yourself for those who don't know you, Dr. Bradshaw.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Bradshaw, and I am the Academic Program Director of Emerging Technology at Columbia Southern University. And I've been dealing with a lot of AI and technologies. I even written, co-author a whole program of AI. So I'm just really excited. Everything's so exciting, and I would like to help.
It is.
South America have AI too.
Thank you for joining us, Dr. Bradshaw. And once again, great to see you again, Sean. Thank you for participating also throughout the Tech for Humanity Summit. And please introduce yourself for those who don't know you, Sean.
Well, first I want to say thank you to you and obviously Christopher for putting together GatherVerse. I mean, to bring everyone together all over the planet, I should say, has been quite special. So thank you for having this and having me be part of this. I am the co-founder and CEO of RP1. We created the world's first 3D browser from the ground up to power the future of all XR and enable AI services to show up with no installs built by anyone, just like websites. Full ownership, and so it's gonna be quite special. So, but thank you for having me here.
Thank you for joining us once again, Sean. And Sunil, great to see you again. Please introduce yourself for those who don't know who you are.
Yes. Hello. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. I'm Sunil Subeda from the Netherlands. Thank you, Christopher and Russell, to invite me again for this panel. Founder of Subit Cybersecurity, background also in the cybersecurity field, but more than 23 years in the IT field, make the movement as a freelancer for more than 22 years, working on enterprise projects for banking, governments, currently working for the Netherlands Army on cryptography and pay key projects. Reason why I attempt actually this summit also because my background is from Suriname, so the link with South America was made very easy for me. Born in Suriname, above Brazil, for those who don't know where Suriname is, but also having our roots in India. So for the Asia Summit or the European Summit, I'm mainly also available to discuss. So that is short and quick about me.
It's a pleasure to have you with us. And I do apologize if I mix up your name, but is it Mega? Is that correct?
Yes, Mega it is. Hi
Please
guys,
introduce yourself.
Hi guys, this is Megha. I work in the intersection of AI and XR. I am co-founder Menlo AI and a founding employee with Nemo Planet, where we built the world's first smart glasses for productivity use cases. So I work into innovation consulting to a lot of companies, build XR products, and also AI.
Amazing, Mega. And thank you for joining us. I believe this is your first time. So
It is my first time.
Welcome to GatherVerse, and it's a pleasure having you with us today.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Dr. Venue, good to see you again, Doctor. As always, please introduce yourself for those who don't know who you are, Doctor. And also unmute your microphone, please, if you could, just to make sure that we can hear you, Doctor. Nope. Okay, let me see if I can unmute the microphone for you. Nope.
Yeah. Thank you.
There we go.
Russell. Yeah. Thank you, Russell and Christopher. This is the first time I'm meeting online, but the last 2.5 years I'm in the forum. Thank you very much. I was very impressed with the kind of a strategy you have been built, and you're connecting around the world of the experts.
Thank you.
I'm into 25 years in the IT and in AI platform, working since 1993. The versions of older version to as on date of 2025. Rightly, my contribution to the organizations on the board governance of AI policy making. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. And again, it's great to see you once again. And also, thank you for joining us for Tech Humanity and participating throughout the series. And another person that's been participating throughout the series, Ian, please introduce yourself and welcome once again.
Okay, hello. I am Ian Kang from South Korea. I've been pursuing the international school level education for everyone, so that anyone, absolutely anyone, could enjoy this kind of high quality education for almost for very affordable costs. And I usually utilize integrated education methods using cognitive science ideas and AI. So what I'm trying to do is integrating people with integrated education methods. Like kids, affluent kids, they all have like a godly spirits as well, but they don't have opportunities to see the underprivileged students' perspectives. So if everybody is available to the international school education, everybody would be able to see their perspectives from each other, and they will learn that all they want is exactly the same, the human freedom and equality. But they will realize that they have been just misjudged and they have been just misunderstanding each other. So that's what I'm trying to do. And that's like, I think I'm the one who has gone through, who has been experiencing all this, from top to bottom, actually from bottom to top. So I think I am the right person who can actualize this. Okay. Thank you for inviting me.
Ian, it's a pleasure having you with us. And honestly, thank you for sharing that as well. And shall we introduce the last person on the panel, shall we? It's the one and only Christopher Lafayette, the founder of GatherVerse. Welcome.
Greetings and happy to be here with each of you. Thank you for allowing me and permitting me to be able to join this roundtable discussion. I was so inspired by this particular subject, especially being this our concluding of this series, and to be able to join each of you, in particular with Katie and Dr. Bradshaw and Sean, and with Dr. Vigneault and Ian, who have been with us through this whole entire series for the very most part, which has been wonderful. To hear the different perspectives that you have with such a multitude of things to say, and the removal of redundancies, and to be able to express why it's so important for these summits that we have. There's so many people that are here with us at GatherVerse.live. To be surprised, I'm a little surprised for our concluding day for South America, but then I'm not at the same time. So thank you for allowing me to join, and I'm happy to sit here and to participate as a participant and to listen and to share.
Christopher, thank you for leading and being the man with the plan, so to speak. But no, it's honestly great to have you with us. So, and last but not least, I'll introduce myself. My name is Russell. I am the Global Affairs Director at GatherVerse, and I'm also the co-founder at Just Verify. Just Verify is focused on building the trust-led infrastructure for AI. We focus on trust and verification in a nutshell. And our mission is to verify the integrity and trustworthiness of AI models to ensure the responsible adoption across the world. And also to make sure that we build a future which everyone can trust AI. So that's it from me. Let's get straight into the questions because we have so many questions and such little time. So question one, what is the significance of prioritizing human-centered innovation in today's fast-paced digital world? Catherine, because you're nodding your head and you're right next to me, you have the honors of kicking us off. So go ahead, Catherine.
Well, thank you, Russell. And we're talking about human-centered design, which I was delighted to study at Stanford through the D School and practice around the world. It's as simple as going to the need, discovering the needs in South America, where 20% of the world's oxygen comes from the Amazon. So we have to go in with curiosity and deep respect for how these people live in their environment the way they live, not with our judgments for how they should live, but the way they do. And so we have to sit quietly, listen and observe and speak to them and let them speak about their lives, which they are the experts of.
100%, Catherine. And do you know what? You always introduce us very well, Catherine. So thank you for sharing your amazing expressions today. And Bradshaw, I could see you nodding. I could see you agreeing. Tell us, what's your thoughts on this question?
I think it's very important to prioritize it because with AI, a lot of some of the things that I've been seeing, and I don't know if y'all heard of Dr. Joy, she has written a book about unmasking AI and how it's not really, seeing people of color's faces appropriately. So it has to be, human-centered, but created in such a way with algorithms that are not going to have bias and that are going to be acceptable to everyone. So I think in a fast-paced digital society, we should also involve a lot of equality and humanity into it because we have to involve everyone, not just a certain face. And that's the problem now today. So I think some of the significance is even higher now to make sure it prioritizes every human and center that around every person, not just specific people.
100% agree with you, Dr. Bradshaw. And also, I think accessibility is important, transparency, accountability, ethics, human values, human alignment, all of those are extremely important when it comes to AI. And Sean, you have a very interesting perspective when it comes to the VR side of things, especially when it comes to human values and human centricity. What are your thoughts on this question, Sean?
I think you have a challenge every time you introduce new technologies to the world. I think a lot of times you focus on technology first, but at the end of the day, technology serves humans, right? And you have to be human-centric on the design and what technology enables versus just being technology for technology's sake. And I think in the exploration days, you're really pushing technology because you're still figuring out how to deliver that technology. But I think you're going to see the next evolution on how you use it for human enrichment. How do you make lives better? And obviously, in building the browser, we're building technology to allow people to express themselves however they want, and giving them the freedom to actually use technology in the way they want to, whether that's e-commerce, whether that's education, gaming, social. And so we don't determine what the outcomes are. We just enable people to express themselves the same way the current browser allows us to express on 2D websites. And so for us, that is really, really important, where technology should be an enabler, not the way to express for people. Because once you take away people's ability to express for themselves, you become the product. I mean, if you really think about it, they always say that if you're not paying for something, then you are the product, which means you're basically doing all the user-generated content. You're making money for a company, but that doesn't necessarily enable you to have a better life. And I think that's a different way of looking at things, and that's why we're excited about the browser really being an enabler for the future of the internet.
You do bring out some very interesting perspectives there, Sean. And I also think one core part of all this, which hasn't been expressed of yet, is when it comes to the verification side of things, right? Being able to verify its alignment with technology, its alignment with human values, setting the standards and benchmarks when it comes to human values, and making sure that it is aligned and continuously aligned with human values, and verifying that aspect as well. And of course, you can include, blockchain technology and stuff like that within that when it comes to the trust side of things. But I was just adding basically to what you're saying, Sean. So I 100% agree with what you're saying. Mega, we've got a special question for you. What type of leadership is necessary to turn nothing about us without us into a reality rather than merely a goal? What are your thoughts?
So I think the leadership specifically needs to be, around people and to understand what people want and to listen to their voice. The kind of leadership that takes nothing about us without us is to co-create with people instead of creating for people. So we are always on the race to sell it to people all the time, to understand what's our audience, TAM and everything and whatnot, but it is so important to co-create with them. So at the end of the day, it becomes nothing about us without us. So we are all creating it together for the betterment of the human values, and not just to sell and reach out, like reach to the trends of it and everything else. So the co-creation part of it makes sense, and this is how I think we can move forward with it without hurting the human values, and how to move this way, like ethically.
So it's kind of like collaboration and ethical,
Exactly.
and making sure both of them come together, and humanity comes together in order to push it in the right direction. Kind of in a nutshell,
Definitely.
really. Yeah.
Definitely.
Sunil, what are your thoughts on that? Or do you have a different perspective when it comes to what type of leadership is necessary to turn nothing about us without us into a reality rather than a mere goal?
Actually, I want
So
to add a bit
is
on
this
it.
still to me? Sorry.
Sorry, Mega. No, we're on to Sunil now.
I'm so sorry.
No problem, Mega. No, so what we do is once you're finished talking, then we go to the next person. So it's just how we do things, but it's all right, Mega. Sunil, please.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Actually, I want to add on what Mega mentioned, but I like the first kickoff what Katrine mentioned about listening. Also, so as a leadership, also a leader should be also able to listen to the audience. Quick short example: when I'm in Suriname and we are discussing, just having a chat with normal persons, mainly they say, "Oh, the foreigner is coming now to Suriname to tell us how it should be." That's not my intention, but how they pick it up is they should know it better because they are more educated, maybe, or etc. etc. But the way how they are doing, they should doing, we should be able to first understand the basics, how they are doing, how they adapted, and which need they have. So based on that, we should be able to say, okay, so just don't want to be the bedweight person who knows everything better. I ask them, can I join you in your work if you are going as a farmer? Just tell me, I'm the stupid person, just tell me what we need to do. And they explain us on a very easy, simple way how it should be. Based on that, by adapting all those information, we should be able to say, okay, this part can be help you to improve it, or move this way, or try this. This can be an approach where we should be able to proceed. So that should be my add-on on this question.
I mean, I think about, like, what type of leadership is necessary to turn nothing about us without us. I think it comes to, collaboration, yes, I completely agree with everything that Mega said, and also yourself, Sunil. But I also think about when it comes to, compassion, empathy, just the human centricity of yourself as an individual, and being able to bring that and putting yourself in someone else's shoes and saying, hey, if I was that person, how would I feel, and how would I be in that position? How can I bring this person into what we're doing, right? So, for example, if Sean, right, for example, he was not happy, let's say he was not happy for whatever reason, right? But I could put myself in his shoes and go, okay, this is the reason why he's not happy. Let me explain to him why he was, that happened, or whatever may happen, right? And then I put myself into his shoes and bring him into my world, and then go, okay, now we can bring me together and collaborate. So I think compassion is a part of it, empathy is a part of it, even sympathy as well is a part of it. So I think these are all qualities as well when it comes to leadership, additionally into what you're saying, Sunil.
And just to add on it, I think culture is also a part what
100%
need to be added or understandable. Because if you don't understand the culture, how they reach out, how they work, how they respect elder persons, etc. So there are plenty of those ways where we should be able to adapt before being the leader and saying, we will tell you how it should be.
100%, Sunil, and appreciate your input there. Dr. Venue, let's ask you this fantastic question. How do we redesign innovation ecosystems so that human dignity is the first design principle? Dr. Venue, this is a very interesting question, and maybe even kind of like a little bit of a serious question. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this.
Because human design is, the practice is the top-down approach. Because it starts from the leadership to it should go to the bottom level.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we are designing and we are in the era of dignity, like two components, one is the business, another is the user, and another is employee. Because design is involving three segments. One is a business perspective, user perspective, and employee perspective.
Mm-hmm.
When you are designing for the business, then it should be long-term growth, should be considered. Second is that where we can reduce the risk at the cost involved, that is the where comes as the technology playing the role. And also enhancement, the differentiation. There comes the design effectiveness will come. When we talk about the designing in the user perspective, adaptability and satisfaction and employee engagement. Next is that ethical approach. These are the things should be taken care in the design perspective.
Mm-hmm. Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay, no worries. I'm just making sure. I thought you was pausing for a second to go, and the third one. No, I completely agree with you, Dr. Venue. And how do we redesign innovation ecosystems? That's hard, right? And also having human dignity at the center. But I think there's also potentially technologies that's already out there that does align with human dignity. So, for example, if we take blockchain, for example, right? I mean, that does transparency, right? That allows you to be able to trust technically what's on the blockchain, not necessarily what's being put on the blockchain. When you put in stuff on the blockchain, it's completely different. But at least what's on the blockchain, you can see what's on there because it's an indisputable ledger, which means it can't be tampered with, which means what's on there is on there. So I think there's certain technologies that does enhance that. But to your point, Dr. Venue, I completely agree. You have to look at it from each perspective, user, leadership, and then also in the middle, which is employees. And you got to look for all three perspectives. Ian, what are your thoughts on how do we redesign innovation ecosystems so that human dignity is the first design principle?
I believe I've been actually have been putting a lot of emphasis on this. My opinion, mega social enterprises should emerge nowadays. I mean, like I said, the change of AI is too fast, and the current governmental systems cannot deal with all the issues. And at the same time, even for many reasons, like the national governments, even like the multinational governments like the United Nations, they are well known. They can go corrupted for many reasons. So to address these issues, I really believe that such big social enterprises who operate their business based on half non-for-profit and half-for-profit identity, then I think they could create a lot of capital. At the same time, they could free lots of soul. Like their like a business ecosystem could be very socially desirable. I think that's how this world should operate in the future. So that's my opinion. Yeah.
Interesting. Christopher, let's fire the same question at you, and obviously what Ian just said as well. But what, from your perspective and lens, Christopher, as a emerging technologist and have been in technology for many years, how do we redesign innovation ecosystems so that human dignity is the first design principle?
Well, I think you first have to take the culture. I mean, here we are in South America. We've been speaking transcontinental, transmetropolitan on a number of different topics. And I think culture without technology or technology without culture is a foundation that just cannot survive the magnitude of the type of technology and innovation that we see being developed in hyperscale today. And I think if you look at this culture, this eco culture, these human characteristics that are permeated in and throughout technological ecosystems themselves, I think that's where you're going to find the absolute fundamental thread of human dignity when it comes to building. And for example, I mean, we look at it in companies in big tech, small startup, you name it, SMB, you want to hire the people that you want to buy your products. And you want to be able to integrate that culture into your actual product development and the rollout of what it is that you have. You know, I think sometimes we get so high and complex, and to make this whole thing so simple, it really comes down just to making sure that if you want to scale globally, that your platform needs to look like what it is that you want to scale to and to be able to scale into, or you're never going to be able to cross the gap of cross-cultural communication. You don't have cross-cultural communication. You don't have an ecosystem that's actually built for the world. And I know so many founders and so many different leaders and Fortune 500, Fortune 50, and they want to scale and they want continuity and they want to build. But I look at their whole entire outfit, their middle management, I look at their different orgs and in their ecosystems themselves, and it doesn't reflect what it is that they're looking to ascertain too. And so I think without culture, you have a failed product from the gate. I think if you look around, and culture isn't relegated to and isn't relegated to color, it isn't relegated specifically to gender. You can have 5 people, including me, that look like Ian, and we can share in the same space, all come from the same neighborhood, all come from the same culture. Going to be really difficult to be able to scale our operation outside of that limited, very thin vertical, as opposed to being able to get other people that come from other different backgrounds, other women, other different peoples of color or non, and to be able to have them sit with a different culture. And all of a sudden we're able to build out the product that we want, that we know that people are ultimately going to adopt and subscribe to. And so I would say in closing, if you look at this question, how do we redesign innovation? I don't think that we need to re-innovate or redo anything. I think we just need to go into doing what it is that we should be doing in the first place, is to be able to add in that culture that will be representative of ultimately the scalability of the product. And I will say this, whose culture? Because now we have a species called AI that's also interested into the narrative of contributing its culture. And AI is a derivative from our culture. But the problem is that when you see the type of AI that's being developed and the type of AI that's being built, that AI is coming from a limited batch of culture, and we're ingesting that culture. What does that say about us?
That's true. That's true. And also, by the way, I'll just add to what you're saying, Christopher, which has literally just come to my mind while you're speaking, is values too. Value alignment and values is extremely important as well. If you want AI and you want to be using AI, well, make sure that the values align with your company, so to speak, or your personal preferences. Yes, we have this new species of AI and it'll input on its own values on you, so to speak, or its own culture, but you want to make sure that also it aligns with yourself. So if alignment isn't there, don't use that certain AI. That would be my advice, to be honest. But anyway, thank you for sharing, Christopher. Appreciate your thoughts. And let's go on to the next question now. And we're going to mix this up a little bit. We're going to start with a different order. So Mega, we're going to start with you. With this question, what does genuine inclusivity in innovation entail?
Genuine inclusivity, it is different kind of people coming together and building something really great. The ownership does not depend on what race you are. It does not depend on your geography. It does not depend on, your gender. And the equality there leads to having more, say, inclusivity in the innovation that we create. So it does not depend on where you are, where you're from, where you live. Giving ownership to everybody, basis their talent and basis their interest, leads to more inclusivity in the innovation. And then obviously, like everybody of you mentioned, that culture is such an important part of everything that we create, and how we can balance AI and culture and create things that serve us and not just things that are gonna hurt everybody. It is important to involve more people with different cultures And
100%.
this is how it is going to be more inclusive and at the end of the day, the things that we create, the innovations that we make, whether it is AI or say XR or hardware, software, it'll be all inclusive of different cultures and different ownership that were, a part and process of creating it. So I think that is where the inclusivity would actually make sense.
100% agree. And I remember like reading the study in healthcare where there was a lack of women's healthcare basically within AI because apparently, well, from what I read, it's been trained by men, right, so to speak. So because when it comes to women's health, obviously women's health is a bit different to men's health, right? And men don't understand women's health, so to speak. So it's giving out like the wrong advice and everything like that. So they were having problems with that because it wasn't giving out the right advice for women, so to speak. So
Right advice. Yes, and I'd want to add, like, for so many years, like, women healthcare was not even considered in the default settings. Like, I guess they were not studying women at all, their healthcare or their what they need and how different it is from, men, and how important it is to differentiate this segment from both the genders and how good they are in their respective genders, and how we need to study them both differently and not like have a default male healthcare perspective. So I think, yeah, it's funny and it's important at the same time that we focus on both the genders differently and have more diverse thoughts and research around it.
100% agree, Mega, and thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. Sean, let's bring you into this. I could see you nodding away and saying yes and agreeing and smiling with your lovely smile as always. So please, what does genuine inclusivity and innovation entail from your lens, Sean?
Well, I have to say, building something from the ground up allows me to really think about this question and how we actually tackled it as a company and as founders. And when you think about the first web browser, you had to make a lot of choices to engage the entire world and create the World Wide Web. And we're kind of going down that same path. And we're very lucky to have technology that's 1,000 times more efficient than any technology out there, because developing XR technology is extremely expensive. And this is the reason why we're all stuck in walled garden platforms that are not inclusive, that do control what you build and take ownership. And we've actually made decisions actually towards this question: how do you make it accessible and allow inclusivity with all the technology that we're delivering for people to use for their own purposes? And we're doing that in a way where we're open sourcing the entire browser. We're giving away technologies because I believe this needs to be at the forefront of anyone that wants to access it. It can't be just in the hands of people that have money. It has to be just like if you want to build a website, just about anyone, if you're 10 years old or a grandmother or a business, it doesn't cost a lot to start a website. And that gives everyone a chance to compete and be a part of an ecosystem that we all share. And we're making those same decisions as far as making sure that it's open and inclusive and enable anyone to be able to start building without worrying about a large bill or having a lot of money to actually make it possible. And I think that's a big step as a company that we're making. And that was we easily could have been just another Meta and really say we'll charge half of what everyone else is charging, make lots of money, but that doesn't make it inclusive. And we're doing the exact opposite. I think we're thinking about people from the beginning. And I think if that steers our ship, I think we'll be successful because I think that's important.
100% agree, Sean, and appreciate you doing that as well. And I 100% agree. Inclusivity is so important, and I think making everything accessible. So what you're doing is very important, Sean. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Say something on that?
Go ahead,
what Sean just said, and I know Sean says he thinks that you're already successful with that mindset.
I appreciate that a lot.
And also Genkai XR says, well said, Sean. Even she agrees, so. All right, we'll get on to the next question. What mindset shifts are needed to put humanity at the center of innovation? We'll go to Dr. Bradshaw because she's paying a lot of attention right now. So we'll go to you. I'm only joking. And then we'll go to Catherine after as well. So Dr. Bradshaw, please, what mindset shifts are needed to put humanity at the center of innovation from your point of view?
Keep human first. Keep our feelings and our values first. That, to me, that mindset is very important. Like was aforementioned by Chris, and several others, how, AI is being created in one small frame mindset. We cannot have that. It has to be people first and, possibilities and innovation. And we can get that if we all help each other out. We have to do this together. It has to be collaborative. We cannot just stay small, focus on a small, narrow scale, because it's not going to be no good if we do.
True, 100% agree with that, and everyone needs to be participating in AI, VR, and AR and XR, blockchain. I mean, all the technologies we need participation in all of it. So, Dr. Bradshaw, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts.
Absolutely.
And Catherine, let's go over to you now. What mindset shifts are needed to put humanity at the center of innovation? And I would like for you to be, I'm going to spin the question a little bit, Catherine. I'd like for you to be kind of very specific, maybe like one thing in particular that you might think, that mindset shift would be very needed to put humanity at the center of innovation.
Okay. Well, I want to invoke Paulo Freire, the great Brazilian educator who wrote Pedagogy of the Oppressed, and citing that the oppressors are as oppressed as the oppressed, those who are oppressed. So when thinking about designing for really contemplating one's own, I mean, that's colonization, right? We have to think about that all the time, about one's privilege. And again, returning to listening, but how do we listen? Can we meet those that we want to, again, support and engage, meet them where they are, listen, use a design technique called a cultural probe that could involve their drawings, their literature, written journals, photography, so that the responses are more authentic than spoken, perhaps, and are diverse. So I will leave that there. Paulo Freire and design techniques that meet the people where they are.
Catherine, you're always insightful as always. So thank you so much for sharing that. And yeah, I agree, honestly, Catherine. I really do. And I think, when we're talking about mindset shifts, also, I think, first of all, you need to be thinking about humanity. But second of all, also, I think it's also from personal experience. As in, you go through life, you grow, you mature, you adapt, your mindset changes, and you don't, you're no longer like this young kid anymore. And as you grow up, so to speak, your mindset shifts and you're able to think, okay, how do I put humanity first? Or how do I put myself in someone else's shoes? Or how do I have my own values that align with me, but also align with their values too? There's an old saying, right? You treat others how you want to be treated. I mean, that says enough on the tin to me. So, but yeah, I think that's what we also need to do, is just think about, as we grow up and mature too, how do we want to treat others? How do we want to be treated? And how can we collaborate to have this center of innovation together? So that's just my point of view. I could be completely wrong. You might be thinking, Russell, you're insane. What are you on about? But that's just my personal thoughts. So
also,
go ahead,
can
Catherine.
I just extend? I'm imagining you sitting in the Amazon on a fallen tree with a pencil and paper in your hand and listening to a group of people telling you what they need or how they do things there, as you want to design AI for them.
Thank you so much, Catherine. I like that vision. Now just fly me in on the drone and then we're good, and I can fly out on the drone. Okay, let's go to the next question, because I know we've run out of time and I do want to get everyone else on the panel before we finish. So how can we make room for diverse and underrepresented groups to collaborate and drive innovation? So I'm going to start with Ian on this one, and then we'll go to Dr. Venue, because we'll go to you after. So Ian, over to you. What are your thoughts on how can we make room for diverse and underrepresented groups to collaborate and drive innovation?
All right. I mean, I think that's what I'm trying to do. So the diverse and the represented groups should be included for many daily activities. And as you know, education is our daily activity, the most ordinary activity. And so when international school education is available to everybody, I think, this, I mean, the online education system, like what I do, not just breaking up on my system, okay, not advertising it, but as we all know, internet and AI could connect all of us to each other, and so on this sort of like online metaverse room, students, even all kinds of others, any person, any kinds of people can create our own room and to learn from each other and teach each other, and that way we can develop our own brain. It could enhance our cognitive functions, and yeah, I think at the same time, I think I've mentioned the biggest problem of spreading this kind of beneficial technologies to everyone is the heavy marketing cost.
Okay.
But as long as we are strongly connected to each other, I think the marketing cost is not a big deal, because we can just deliver the news, and we can share this kind of useful information to each other. So the peer-to-peer buzz, I think that could be the best marketing way as well. So I think, that's what I'm trying to. That's my approach.
Thank you, Ian. You got to the point in the end. I love it. Thank you, Ian. Now, we haven't got much time, so what I want to do is I want to get everyone's thoughts. I want to go around each and every one of us. We've got about 4 minutes left. So what I want to do is quickly go around each and every one of you and ask, what's one thing that you have learned from today's panel? So we'll keep it very short, one word if possible. Just one thing that you've learned from today's panel, just very quickly, so we can finish things off. So Christopher, we'll head over to yourself. What's one thing that you've learned on today's panel at GatherVerse today?
The greater the culture, the greater the technology.
Okay. Ian, what about yourself? What's one thing that you've learned at GatherVerse today?
I mean,
it could be anything. Could be culture. Could be values.
I mean, diversity. Okay. I'm the only East Asian. I mean, many East Asians are quite introverted, but I got invited here. And then we can learn from each other's perspectives, and we can also experience the different cultural viewpoints. In this sense, this kind of online panel discussion is very ideal, and hopefully, I really think English should be the universal language for everybody. Many people don't like this idea, but we all know English is the most influential.
We're running out of time, Ian. I've got to move. Sorry, Dr. Venue. What's one thing that you've learned on today's panel?
It's beyond the traditional matrix, because everybody saying Christopher is a culture then technology. So it's a matrix. Whatever we have been collaterally shared the points, we have to compile it. From this, we can take away is learning and also, relearning.
100%, Dr. Venue. Thank you so much. Sunil, what's one thing that you've learned? Be very quick, please.
Quickly, actually, keep learning and use AI as your buddy, and not let AI decide your principles. So that should be my tip.
Sunil, love the honesty. Thank you. Megha, this is your first time on the panel. What's one thing that you've learned today at GatherVerse?
I think the most important thing that I learned was balancing the speed of technology with ethics. Like how fast we're moving in technology, it's very important to keep empathy and ethics in our minds when we're creating it.
100% Mega, and I completely 100%. Dr. Bradshaw, quickly, one thing from yourself. What have you learned today at GatherVerse?
Values are important.
100%. I love that. Dr. Bradshaw, you're awesome. Thank you. That was so straight to the point. Love it. Sean, what about yourself?
When you focus on people, you can change the world.
Oh, Sean. Oh, dropping the bombshells. And last but not least, Catherine.
Human-centeredness, of course, and making sure that the culture is part of social emotional learning, which is very prevalent in K-12 education today. It must be SCEL, social, cultural, emotional learning.
And that is all we have the time for. Thank you so much, panelists, for joining us. Make sure you follow each and every one of you on LinkedIn. Make sure you check out all the amazing people. Today has been such an amazing roundtable. It's been very insightful, so much insights, and very enthusiastic. I love the panel today. So please do follow everyone on LinkedIn. And that is it for this panel. And up next, our Gather was well. But up next, we have the amazing Lynn, who's coming up with a fireside chat for you. So our Gather was well. Over to you, GatherVerse team. See you later.
Thank you.
Greetings once again, and welcome to the second Fireside Chat, GatherVerse South America Tech for Humanity Summit. Now, thank you for the previous panel. Those were quite insightful sharings, and we're just here to take it a notch higher. And with me, I have Marisa. Marisa, kindly introduce yourself. Tell us why you're here, and then we can jump right into the conversation.
Hi. Can you hear me well?
Yes, loud and clear.
Spectacular. So my name is Marisa Zalabak. I am an AI ethicist. I'm an educational psychologist. I am the co-chair of AI ethics education with IEEE, which for people who are not familiar is the largest engineering organization in the world. And we work on global standards. And I am the founder of the Global Alliance for Digital Education and Sustainability, which works on not just AI education, but all digital education for all.
Wow, that is very impressive, and we're very, very happy to have you here. So the audience, we're going to talk about anthropomorphism and AI, humanizing technology responsibly. You know, Marisa, let's settle in for this intriguing conversation. I believe it's one of the most intriguing conversation ever. So when we talk about anthropomorphism in AI, what does that exactly mean to you compared to what everyone thinks in the world? What does that come to you as?
Absolutely. Well, the simplest definition of anthropomorphizing is the humanizing. It's when we humanize, we attribute human qualities, human behaviors, human personalities, and identities to something that is not human. So it can be applied to, and people go, oh yeah, my animals are, and we can apply those qualities to animals, but it goes beyond that to objects, right? But we actually inanimate objects. So for example, the best examples would be most places in the world refer to, whether it's a car or a bicycle or a boat or something, refer to it as a he or a she.
Oh,
Or
yes.
refer to, oh, it's a little sluggish this morning, or she's a little bit angry with me today.
Yeah.
People, so it is the humanizing. It is a projection of human qualities.
Interesting. Quite a number of examples you could give there. I'm also curious. So we want to attribute human traits to objects. So why do you think that is the reason? Why do humans instinctively attribute or project human qualities to machines, especially and algorithms? Let's just forget about objects. Let's dive into AI and the machines and the algorithms.
Well, artificial intelligence, AI systems are particularly well suited to this human tendency. It's a human tendency from the beginning of human history. I mean, we can trace it back, millennia. We can trace it back, 3 million years ago that's just the evidence, but we also assume that it had persisted before that. Humans, it had to do with rituals and religious practices and divination practices, right? That this was the way that we might say that the sun is speaking to me, right? The earth is speaking to me. And this is not just a fantasy. It also was based in very specific, and I think it's a really interesting thing that today's session is about in South America as well, is that particular divination practices, we know about them in Mesopotamia, we know about them in India, in China, but they also very profoundly existed in South America, in places where people were looking for some sign what to do and how to behave, and having a very different relationship with nature. So in many cultures, right, in many indigenous cultures, in many indigenous belief systems, also the relationship of a human to other things in nature is the same as a relationship between humans, because it's a very different way of viewing the world. If I considered a tree or the river my living relative, then it now is very easy for me to put those attributes that I would give to a human on those things as well. And so it feeds each other. They go back and forth. It's not about a right or a wrong or what was correct or not correct. It is a tendency in humans, and AI utilizes that tendency for engagement.
Yes.
If the system, because that is the definition of the Turing test, by the way, so for people who are, again, and not everybody is aware, the Turing test was the test for the original test for artificial intelligence, which was basically, could that system convince a human user that it was actually a human? It was not a machine, it was a human.
That's right.
And so it is anthropomorphizing. It is, in an essence, it is saying we are projecting these things, and we're going to embed the system with enough information from humans that it will convince the user without question that it is another human being the person is interacting with.
Wow. What's so in is when you gave an example from the ancient days. When you trace it back to how humans have been doing that since time and ago. And it's not only in South America. We've done it here in Africa. We've done it in Asia. Everywhere in the world. That is one outstanding thing about history. Human beings always attribute something to a form of nature, or make it a god, or make it a companion. And relating this to AI, it only makes sense.
And it's also not, and just one little add-on there, it is not just because nature is also a living, right?
Yes.
It's biologically living. The really important piece with AI systems is that is not an organic living system.
That's right.
And a boat is not an organic living system, or a bicycle. So it is much more understandable to see our tendency to do this with nature than it is with objects, and yet that has always existed as well.
Very, very true. Let's just shift gears to the human side of things. And should AI be created to seem more like human, or does it raise ethical concerns? Do you think that is a question of ethics?
Oh, it's a huge question of ethics. It's one of the major questions of ethics, but it's also my first question I very seldom answer a question with a question.
Yeah.
But on this one, I have to say, my question always is why? Why do we want? Can we do it? Do people
Yes.
want to do that? Absolutely. Are they
Absolutely.
doing it? Are they doing it more and more and more? Absolutely. The question is why, who benefits, who is harmed, and who is harmed intentionally and or unintentionally. And so what AI ethics is, just AI ethics in a nutshell, is identifying who does this system benefit.
Yes.
Who does this system? Because it's human-centered is not enough. It's humanity-centered, right? So which part of humanity does this benefit? Which part of this humanity does it harm? And it's not because, I don't want to be vilifying or casting, aspersions on anybody who designs a system that has it, because so much of what happens in harm, unfortunately, is done unintentionally. People go, well, that's not what we intended it to be. The reality, the sad reality there is, it's like any other apology. The apology only matters if I fix the behavior.
The damage has been done.
Exactly. Exactly.
Let me soothe the heart. Maybe.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so, yes, these are, I mean, to me, this is the focus of my current work. It is one of the probably central to the focus of my current work. I have of other things. I've been in AI ethics now for a decade. So, I'm an older person, so I've had many other careers, but a decade is much longer than most people have been even aware of artificial intelligence, even though AI has been around for 70. It's the 70th anniversary of AI, and most people are just not aware. But yes, so these are really prime basic ethics issues.
You've mentioned you've had, I'd call it a wealth of experience. I think it is a wealth of experience in ethics. And this is just a follow-up question to you. What are some of the changes you have seen with ethics, especially with just the sudden eruption of AI? What have you seen within that?
I love your question. I love this question, Lynn. I love this question because it has not happened at the speed of the innovation, because it would be impossible to do that at the moment.
Yes.
What I have seen, which makes me so happy, is that we're actually having this conversation, Lynn. What makes me so happy is that you actually have even heard of AI ethics, and it's not that because you may have been in it much longer than me even, but the fact is that the majority of people now are hearing that. When I first came into the field, I didn't even know what AI ethics was. I didn't know what an AI ethicist did.
Yes.
What I have seen is I have seen it be AI ethics become a much more validated practice and essential practice. I have seen finally, and I have called for this for all the years I've been in it, because I'm not an engineer. I'm actually a psychologist. I have been calling for social scientists who, and God bless social scientists, psychologists who are marketers. But I'm not talking about marketing psychology, because that's trying to convince you to do something.
Yes.
I'm talking about psychologists who practice human well-being. That is right. And I've been calling for this over and over. We finally now, I turn around and I see people, who are in this, and who are human and AI interaction, who are psychologists, who are practicing psychologists. And I get so excited right now.
Yes.
Because that is part of what we need, as well as we need journalists, we need citizens, we need stakeholders. So we're seeing more people from different backgrounds. And also what I'm also seeing, which is very exciting to me, is the increase of invitation to people from cultures normally not included.
All right.
Right? Because it's such a homogenous, English based only kind of practice to begin with. And this shift to beginning to say, no, we have to be including the whole world. We
Yes.
have to be including people from the whole world in all the continents and all the cultures. And that to me is also very exciting in AI ethics. It's very encouraging and exciting.
Yes, I'm looking at our time and it's very short, but just close us with one brief takeaway. What would you tell the world regarding to this topic? Just one brief remark.
Be very, 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 very careful with any interaction you have with an AI system. Put up Post-it notes. I don't care if they're Post-it notes. I don't care if they're alarms.
Yes.
Reminding us that we are interacting with a system. It's a machine. It's not that it's like we can do all kinds of interesting things with it and play with it, but be really, really, really aware. And this is it doesn't matter how intelligent you are. It doesn't matter how experienced you are. That the thing that is most important, be aware you're interacting with the machine at all times.
All right. And that is a powerful close-off. Be careful. And Marisa, we were very happy to have you. And I'm also inviting you to She Summit. We need to learn more of what you're doing. And over to you, GatherVerse team, or GatherVerse well for this Fireside Chat.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for having me, Lynn.
You're welcome.
Hello. Well, Chris, I don't know if you are the one welcoming these South American people or if you want, we will love to give you the honor.
Well, thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here with each of you. And thank you so, Rosario, for helping lead this final roundtable discussion of this series that we have with the GatherVerse Tech for Humanity series. And all of you that are with us at GatherVerse.live and joining us from quite literally around the world, and especially from our dear friends and dear hearts in South America. We're so happy to be here with you to understand just that much more about this incredible history and the heritage of the culture reflected by each of you. And so I'm happy to join with you on the roundtable, and I'll turn this over to Rosario for your leadership.
Thank you, Chris. No, thank you for your leadership. Well, to start, I will love to invite three of my favorite people in technology, and you know that, to introduce yourselves and to share why do you think you are part of this conversation. Marianne, if you want to start, ladies first.
Okay, so thank you so much for the invitation. So I think we're part of this conversation because all humans need to be part of the AI revolutions, and also looking for what will be the next step to bring back humanity, and not bring back, but encourage, like, support humanity and the values that we need to carry on to different platforms. So I think that's my goal here.
Thank you. You forgot to share who you are and what do you do. But...
Okay, so right now I'm developer, advocate on ILF, Interledger Foundation. I'm also co-founder of Pioneers Dev Community in Colombia. I'm from South America, from Medellin, Colombia. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. Guillermo Jesus, who wants to follow?
You go, Guillermo.
All right, Jesus, thank you very much. Chris, Rosario, Marian, Jesus, thanks for having me tonight, this afternoon. I'm in Colombia, in Bogota right now. I am top local leader for the Founder Institute, LATAM, Colombia and LATAM. And basically very into technology because, there are many problems in our region, in LATAM, that mean opportunities. I also hold another hat for as general partner of Indio Venture Capital. And entrepreneurship is like a river that flows down with two sides. In one side is the entrepreneurs and the technicians and all this technology, and on the other side, on the other shore, are the VCs and the people willing to fund all those projects. So I think this is a great opportunity, Rosario and Chris, to let the people know of those great opportunities. Now with the, let's say, advances in AI, well, there are plenty of opportunities and a lot of capital willing to be invested in all those projects. So this is a great, let's say, hook for our audience to get involved into this world of technology.
Thank you, Guillermo. Jesus, please.
Yes, thank you for the invitation, Rosario, Christopher. I'm very happy to be here with you. I am Jesus de la Vega. I am part of the Entrepreneurship Institute at Tecnológico de Monterrey. We accelerate and incubate companies all around Latin America, and we build entrepreneurship ecosystems in Mexico and other parts of the world. And I think that I am part of the conversation not because we have contact with many entrepreneurs all around the world, but also because we would like to build communities where tech is open and we could use tech and use all the talent that we have in LATAM to solve the most important problems of the world and make an impact with these startups. So I think that that's why I would like to share some ideas here. I am very happy to be here with you.
Thank you. Thank you. Also, Jesus is in the middle of the Mexico Tech Week. So thank you for taking the time to be here. Well, all of you, and I will include myself and Chris, we see companies, we see entrepreneurs every day. And we are very much connected with the real ecosystem of Latin American tech. So from your broad perspective, checking the big picture, how do you think that Latin American market is going around technology? Are founders thriving, surviving, retreating, retraining themselves? What is happening, and what are those key metrics that you see that matter right now? Go ahead, Marianne.
Okay, so I think the real vibe right now is great mode. So founders are surviving with lean revenue first models. The ones thriving are hyper niche, capital efficient, and community led. That will be my perspective.
Thank you. Guillermo, Jesus, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. We have also seen that most of AI-based companies, the ones that are like really building an AI from scratch, are getting like liquidity like very fast most of the times when they found out like a very good market fit. So some of them have been able to have access to capital easier than other startups. Even the ecosystem is like very hard right now to get funding. But we have also seen like many other solutions that would like to implement AI just because it's a trend and they don't have like a very specific value to add to some user or to solve any problem at all. It's just something cool that looks nice, and we have seen like these different type of problems with this huge trend all around the time. But I think that the ones that are in the front of the curve, they are getting like a lot of advantages, and if they understand like not just the tools but also the needs of the users, they are able to build very cool things.
Thank you, Jesus. Guillermo, you are mute.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Rosario. I tend to agree with Marian that many of our, let's say, entrepreneurs are like surviving. That's our perspective from within our region. I don't know if Chris might have a different perspective anyway, but basically most of our entrepreneurs are in that, let's say, mode. There are just a few exceptions of like, let's say, technicians or entrepreneurs launching breakthroughs in technology in our region. But basically, well, we need to increase investment in order to, leave that mode of surviving.
I would be complimentary and to go on the shoulders of each of you of what you expressed. I would say from my observations and from my interactions with those in the South American ecosystem, which is a vast ecosystem. And I know we tend to aim to look at the global AI arms race as America and Asia, and sometimes Europe. But the reality is that you cannot have the type of technology that we're looking to scale globally without the South American ecosystem for a number of reasons. I look at the South American ecosystem from my experiences of looking at on-chain technology is extraordinary. Extended reality is growing. Artificial intelligence and startups, they're just waiting to continue to scale once there's even more stronger deal flow and capital that's moving in. But I'll say this is the most important to me is that you look at the South American ecosystem, it is the oxygen of the earth. And if you take that culture of South America and its native centricity, its ecocentricity, and you pair that with emerging technologies, that will help us to be able to make the whole planet better when it comes to the breathability, the survivability, and the sustainability of Earth. And we start thinking about planetary wellness. And so for me, when I think about the South American ecosystem, there are so many different entrepreneurs that are arising out of this vast land. And I really don't think that we're prepared globally to look at what it means to place these extraordinary applied sciences in the hands of those in South America with the multitude of different cultures that's there, from Colombia all the way to Argentina, the Buenos Aires, if you will, the Brazil and more. I just don't think that the world is ready for this. And so what happens when we start to see whole entire segments that have never been known as technological destinations and overnight become quite tech-centric? We don't know what that world looks like. And we're very infamous globally as a whole of where we are with technology to where we may find ourselves. So I think that ultimately South America is a sleeping giant.
Thank you, Chris. I really think so. And also, when we interact with a lot of young people, when we go to the different conferences and events, definitely there is a talent, an energy, I don't know, all the knowledge and technical skills, definitely. And of course, in some cases, South American people is doing more with less because we don't have the flow of funds. So talking about that gap in access to capital, I want to ask something from two sides. The first one is, where are investors putting their money? Where is the smart money going? And the second thing is, if I am a founder and I want to access that capital, what are the key tips and recommendations that you give them?
I will start. So first, will be like I think it's really important to amplify like the rounds, like know with a revenue at one time of funding, not just the deal count. Is more early checks go to startups with real repeated revenue. So I think they need commitment with the entrepreneur ecosystem, and also with the supporting the ecosystem with more discipline and yeah, in a long-term relationship. And for the founders would be like creating community, because I think if users, if the community, the supporters aren't obsessed with the solution or the product they are building, so I think it's not attractive at all, because community is first now.
Thank you, Marianne. Guillermo.
Rosario, well, it's a great question, and what you just mentioned about doing more with less, that holds true all over the region. I've been to different, let's say, countries in the region. Let's say Mexico, Colombia, Venezuela, for example, is a great example. I've seen like great startups and businesses that are like GMB with GMBs of $6 to $10 million a month, and an investment that I mean, it's less than $2 million. So basically, to answer your question, I see VCs and angel investors pouring money into effective software as a service startups that are solving real problems and that are capital efficient, and that, as Marin also mentioned, that high level of monthly recurrent revenue. Those are like models that have been validated all over the region, and many fintechs also fit this profile. So, well, fintech is probably the sector that holds is like the magnet for investment in the region, maybe around 40% of VC investment. So, but basically, I have to highlight what you just mentioned, Rosario. In Latin America, we have developed skills to do more with less.
Right. Thank you. Jesus.
Jesus might be frozen, but
yes, maybe frozen, but well, we will ask him later about that. I will, Guillermo, you were mentioning fintech as one of the top sectors, and of course, that's related with a problem that we will talk a little bit later, and is all the exchange of money between countries and people in different countries. But what are the trends and the sectors that you are seeing? If you will be an entrepreneur seeing this and saying, hey, I want to start something, or I want to connect with companies in one industry, what are those industries that you recommend for them to see? Marianne, go ahead. Now we have an order.
Okay, so I think fintech is really important when we are talking also about cross-border capitals. So smart money is flowing to capital efficient B2B like SaaS, or people who are building like dev tools or embedded finance, payment, infra, and yeah. I think all the things like AI is also involved, like data labeling, safety, other vertical workflows. But as I said, I think we have a real good opportunities out there, because Latin America, as Chris said, is there are like 21 nations with different cultural. We have a culture, and Espanol is our main idiom, but we talk different Espanol in all these countries, and also we have really a specific challenge to achieve. So we are a region, but we are also very rich and very diverse. So perhaps my thinking is, if we really embrace what we are with our specific channels, and we try to achieve or to close those gaps, perhaps we have the opportunity to be a really prime players in the ecosystem, in the global ecosystem.
And I'll say this to what Marianne just said. I think it's so important with all the different countries and all the different nativity that's there, and the different languages, especially in Espanol, and saying the un día muy preciosa. How many different ways can you say un día muy preciosa, and how can it be expressed in your mother tongue and your native tongue? And if you translate that culture to technology, how greater will the technology be? I think the greater the culture, the greater the contribution, ultimately the greater technology will be.
Chris, even we need to take care with some words, because words that are very common in one of our countries are very bad words in other of our countries. So even to that point, that's a great thing.
Yes, Jesus.
Yeah, sorry, I got lost for a few minutes because of the connection. But yeah, setting up a little bit about what Marianne and Guillermo said, I think that we are in Latin America. We have like a very specific problems for the regions. So we are startups are able to build like specific solutions that could work in LATAM, but maybe are not like the problems that we are seeing in Europe or Asia or even in the US. And that's also a very good thing, because we are able to develop more specific solutions to grow in this huge market that we have. Even if we add some, we just change the language to Portuguese, we are able to connect with Brazil and to have like a very huge impact in the south. And if we that I think that these solutions combined with liquidity are something that regional investors are also looking for and are finding like very interesting.
Rosario, can I ask a question to the panel?
Please go ahead.
I have a question for each of you, being that you're from South America and South Americans. To more what Marian expressed, the different countries that are there, do you find that in South America that there's a communication apparatus, meaning that exchange to one another, as Jesus was referring to with Brazilian Portuguese language, do you find that there's great communication between the various countries for collaboration? And do you foresee that this will scale and grow, or that this is an obstacle and a challenge?
Chris, if you allow me to say.
Everybody jumps at once, please.
Thank you. You're touching a very sensitive, let's say, topic, and that's the importance of this summit. That's the importance of your job, Chris, uniting the world in our region. It's a challenge. I mean, as far as, well, as Jesus and you were mentioning, we have basically Spanish and Portuguese, but the communication, I mean, Brazil is not that it's an isolated, it's not an island in Latin America, but the language barrier exists. I mean, and also between our countries, there are social and political factors also that are like keeping us apart. As you see, for example, Venezuela, for example, right now, is isolated from the world of investment. At some point, other countries have suffered the same destiny or situation, and this is a challenge, and therefore there are great opportunities. And I want to highlight what I just mentioned about the importance of this summit. These are the kind of events that join people and make us convey into these ideas of technology, but beyond technology is uniting people, uniting people that are facing problems, that are creative and are willing to monetize in order to create innovation for our region and to solve real problems.
Please, Jesus, Mera, and Rosario, please, if you feel free to answer, because I have a follow-up for each of you, but please. If Rosario will let me, if she'll allow me.
No, of course. I may go ahead, Jesus. Go ahead.
No, I was just would like to say that Guillermo I am totally agree with Guillermo. I think that we have like a huge opportunity on coordination and planning between Latin American countries. We share the same agenda. If we connect, if we have like spaces like this to talk about these problems and to share initiatives, we are able to make a huge change, because if we unite everyone, we are like a very huge economic power, a lot of people, a lot of talent, a lot of needs. So the main challenge is communication and to open these barriers that right now they are open in some spaces, but most of these connections are not able to be made.
Yes, maybe I will add something regarding our history. We come from a history of difficulties, of fighting problems, of trying to improve the economies. And because of that, there are many regulations and many frameworks of action that require to not trust to start. You know, trust is like by default, you need not to trust. So, for example, if you are investing in Latin America, in Colombia, I will give that example. If you are opening a company in Colombia and you are receiving money from another country, foreign money, you cannot receive more than 10K the first year, $10,000 the first year. That's like, why? Because of anti-money laundering policies. So it's like you are instead of creating ways to do the things in a better way, in many cases we just close the doors and trusting the others. For example, if we are creating a contract between people, usually you need to go to a place called notary, and you need to seal everything with you in person, placing your fingerprint, everything, even when you know that the other person is there, because of the story and the background of compliance that we need to clean up, let's say it that way. So I really think that created a culture of not trust, and it's difficult to break it. And of course, breaking barriers with other countries, within countries, with people who is from another industry, with people who is from another region. And as an example, the first time I arrived to the Ken Perlin's lab in New York, in NYU, he said, okay, let's share what each one is doing at its company. And I was like, I'm sharing what I am doing? They will steal my work. And that's what my first approach almost 10 years ago. Yes. But then I learned that collaboration can give you more. But even and I'm giving my own example because I was like, no, I will never share. From there, I changed my culture. And I really think that's how we met with Marianne, Guillermo, Jesus, etc., and you, Chris. But I think that's difficult to change, to switch.
Would you say, Marianne, and thank you so much, Rosario, Guillermo, and Jesus. Would you say, are we looking at this challenge being more culture centric? Is this more lifestyle centric, or political, or something different? It could be all three, and that would be fair to say.
All three. Yeah, we have different situations to solve, but I think that's the main issue. Probably, if I have the chance, probably there are the three intersects. Is an intersection, but also I think the trust is something really important, because what I found creating community and supporting community is the majority of the people are acting in good faith, and they have good values. I don't know. I like to think like we are the good ones and we are the majority. I'm not the only one. and I think with that phrase, I will say like there are a lot of people here don't have like the right resource, but they want to create a great impact, a big impact, and a good one in the society. But probably they are facing a really huge challenge, and also they need one opportunity to demonstrate that they are one of the good ones. I don't know if it was clear.
I find that very interesting, Marianne, and thank you so much, Marianne. And Guillermo, I residually have the question is, what about the youth? What about the young people? Do they have a desire to innovate? And do they see the same similar challenges that they are inheriting from their predecessors as their predecessors inherited the same?
Well, yes, there's a strong movement like for youth, for young people. And from my perspective, as you can read in my tagline, I'm a top local leader for the Founder Institute. And nowadays, Founder Institute has programs for universities and colleges. And the metrics are like the invested capital into the startups that are like being launched by those colleges or universities. I mean, just to let you know that nowadays young people, they don't want to be like our parents used to be willing to be employed by a company and spend 20 years, 30 years working for that company 9 to 5, and then retire and get a pension, a retirement plan, etc. Nowadays, people are thriving and are willing. Young people are willing to found companies, to be founders, and to solve real problems. I mean, that's the importance of as I just mentioned, of this kind of summits to empower young people. And this is an act of leadership, for example, from the GatherVerse South America movement. Okay, they can follow these conversations and they can be empowered by listening to what just was said by Marianne, by Rosario, by Jesus, by Chris. All right, and that's I highlight this is the importance of this kind of summits to empower people, young people.
Yes, and I think about this, and thank you, Guillermo and Jesus. We're coming to you real quick, and I promise, Rosario, I'll be short. I'll be short with this, but it's just I have to ask: it's you mentioned the Portuguese language, and you talk about Espanol. Is it significant? And you may be frozen, and perhaps Rosario, you can answer, or any of you. How significant is that to bridge the gap between this cross-cultural communication? Is this something small? Is it something light? Is it something that's always been, or is this of substance? Please, Rosario.
No, I think there is also something interesting because of the language and Brazil is one of the biggest economies of South America, so the impact is huge. But as well as the language, the regulation and the framework to create a business is very different than many of the other countries in Latin America. So that bridge is, let's say that if you can make it in Brazil, you can make it and grow it for Latin America like Nubank. Because the regulation is more restrictive even than in other places of Latin America.
Yes, thank you. Jesus, please, welcome back.
Hey everyone. sorry.
Were you able to get the question to follow up the heels of Rosario about the bridge gap between speaking of the Portuguese language and Espanol? How significant? What of substance is that?
Yeah, I think that the even that we were talking before about that we are able to connect with Brazil and other Spanish-speaking countries in Latin America is a possibility and is something that will be very helpful. It's a huge challenge, mainly not just for the language, but also because Brazil have like a very huge populations. So most of startups prefer to grow just in Brazil in the first years, and then they grow to other parts of Latin. But if we go for example, with Mexican companies, it's not easy, but they are more used to grow in Mexico and also in Guatemala or Belize or even Colombia or other regions. But the last country where they would like to go in Latam is Brazil. Because of the language, because it's a very huge market, because they have like very big competitors there. So well, it's a challenge, not just for the language, but also for the market size that they have.
Thank you, Jesus. Marianne. And then I'll turn it to Rosario. I'll stop.
I think Portuguese. I know Brazil is huge, and I think I am repeating what Rosario and Jesus just shared. But yeah, definitely is a huge opportunity for us, like transit to another Romance Latin root language as Portuguese, because it definitely is a huge market, and we have huge opportunities in this territory. Probably even in fintech that I am right now, the ecosystem is prepared to evolve just in Mexico, Colombia, and Brazil, according to their regulation, to support like open payments and all the technologies that I am supporting right now.
I beg to have one more question. I do have a question. I really do, because as Guillermo says, this is why we gather, to understand. I know of South America. I do business with South America. I don't know South America. And I have to ask, we're in a global AI arms race. I know that if I go to France, I can go use Le Chat, and I can do Europe, and I go to Switzerland, there's different AI type models and platforms being developed there. If we go to China, there's QN, there's DeepSeek, and then obviously we have the GPTs, Geminis, and so much more. And there's over 1,800,000 models I know that we're studying over in the UK at Cambridge. I have to ask, in the South American ecosystem, what is the dominant AI platform, and what does AI look like to your ecosystem? Is there anyone that you're seeing, or any platforms that you're seeing that are taking off? Because this is part of my real concern, is that as someone that studies these models and has for some time under the banner of ethics, I have not heard a tremendous amount about the scale of AI when it comes to South America. But what I do know, and this is why I say that it's a sleeping giant, I do know from past time of history and not far away history, recent, that when you don't hear necessarily from a whole entire sector, it tells me, Rosario, that something is brewing. What is brewing? What is being made? Something is being prepared to share with the world. What might that be?
Well, I know that Marianne wants to add there. I saw her. I know her enough. Marianne.
Okay, no, I'm just saying like I think we are a minority, of course, in this landscape, in this scenario. Right now, only one LLM is produced right here in Latin America, especially it's a big proposal from Chile. I know that we are doing or taking steps in that direction. For example, I know like in Mexico, and Jesus can support this statement. Like they lead the biggest class and training, formal training for 10,000 people right now in the framework of Mexico Tech Week. But definitely, I know like OpenAI, and especially before with the support of Microsoft, they were leading in Latin America. We have other big scenarios. My hope is like everyone have like have the opportunity to become a supporter or creator of one of these libraries or frameworks, especially in the open source ecosystem. And that's why for me it's really important the technical level, not just consuming the tool, is just to build the tool. And I think the builders and the makers and even the products that we create from Latin America to compete in a global scale will be the solution to don't still behind these big changes of disruptions in the humanity.
Right.
I agree.
Yes, yes. I think it's so important when you think about the magnitude of what you just expressed, Marianne, is that we only have a little bit of time to do this, right? Because these machines are so capable, Jesus. We've never seen anything like this before when it comes to technology and applied sciences. And the reality is what happens when the vibe code says to the vibe coder, I don't need you anymore. Or what happens when the investors of the world, the VCs and the angels and the whales that say, Guillermo, why should I invest in Guillermo and Rosario? Why should I invest in Marianne? When Jesus, I can invest in the machine to build what I want to go to market. Minimal people, minimum reduction in costs and expenditures. Why would I invest in humans when machines can do what they do and in some ways even better? Why should I, Jesus? Tell us.
I think that everything is switching to empathy. The founders are able to build faster solutions with AI, as you said. But the understanding of the problems and their empathy with different markets is something that is key to not just developing the solutions, but also to set up UX systems, a way to connect with the market that is able to grow and really develop solutions that could make impact. And I think that that's something that is changing. Also, I think that right now venture capital will focus on smaller teams, smaller companies with quick liquidity, or deep tech companies that are not building just software, but they are building something else that could change food industry or medicine or other sectors that are more specialized and they need very niche tools that will be also very relevant. So I think that people will be relevant and founders will keep being relevant, but they will change their approach in their companies.
Thank you, Jesus. And Guillermo, what's stopping us? What's stopping South America, Latin America? What is stopping it from being dominant in the headlines of what we see every day in this global AI arms race? What is the biggest challenge for us seeing things come out from all the way from Brazil, whether it's in Portuguese or coming out from, let's say, if look at Chile or Santiago? What is to stop to say that? What is the big challenge? Why don't we see that now?
Well, basically, it's a matter of mindset. We might have the hard skills, but the soft skills sometimes keep us from dreaming big and from having that strong mindset that lead us to not only early victories but for a definite victory, something that gives us the strength to endure a long journey to make a relevant, let's say, technology or a relevant startup be relevant not only in our country, our region, but also all over the planet, all over the world. So I think it's a matter of mindset. Remember that in Latin America, we were colonists. We were colonized, and well, let's say that we've been oppressed by some other societies. So maybe that mindset is still instilled in us, and we need to break free from that. I mean, dream big and also execute accordingly.
Yes.
You know, I may add something. The educational level, math skills are very low. Bilingual skills are very low, even in the higher levels of the entrepreneurial world. So when you see those basic skills that you need to be a builder instead of just a consumer of technology, you can see organizations, and I was just learning last Friday in Medellin about what Tech de Monterrey is doing with micro credentials, and also Platzi is doing an amazing job from, let's say, from the university side and from the, I don't know how to call that, ed tech, not necessarily formal education. But I think that those type of skills that are, let's say, foundational for being able to learn new skills, to learn how to use the technologies, and also because the majority of the new technologies material to start learning is coming in English, not in Spanish. So how do you learn to learn? How do you learn to learn in another language that is not your native language? I think both are reducing the pace of what is possible for the region.
And I will add right there, like the EdTech stack right now is like more like a modular curriculum with cloud sandboxes, local mentors, and like employer backend challenge, like a company supporter, like the scaling programs to support like students and the track placement revenue from student projects, because universities also have the opportunity to have like these startup labs or entrepreneur innovation hubs, like as a product or an incubator, and also invest in the students, returning like ideas, becoming ideas to life, or bring ideas to life, like and supporting in that way like the private sector, and yeah, and I think the growth of the economy for our countries and for the region.
I look at and I listen to what it is that's being expressed, and I think about this vast ecosystem of South America, and I think about the type of fundamentals that we have here in Silicon Valley when it comes to incubators and accelerators and a bridge to be able to fund these incredible platforms. This I do know is that one of the most underserved environments in the world has been in South America, whether in Mexico or whether across the Andes or even Patagonia and everything in between and around the Amazon and everything encircling, is that there's just not enough financial resources. But I wonder in this time now, Rosario, with all these extraordinary tools that we have that are democratized and access. I mean, look at what we're able to do versus just 10 years ago, 5
Right.
years ago. There's so many things we could do now, Guillermo. For us that have been in the forest chopping wood, Marianne and Jesus, maybe a little younger, we may be a little bit more mature. But if you think about what we had to do to make the things that we're able to make, just like this, without even almost thinking, I can make things. I can do things that would take so much time for me to think. does this speed up the opportunity? And does the fact that we have these tools that allow us to be able to build so fast, does this almost necessitate for us to move faster and globally? And how can we bridge that and collaborate? Is it more important to see the collaboration of South America within, or is it more important to see the collaboration of South America without, globally?
Wow, that's a huge question, but I think both of them are equally important. Inside of South America, we need to learn how to bridge the gap on trust, how to start building communities. And I really think that's why these three people that you see here, Chris, and well, maybe we will include ourselves, but they are believers and builders of communities of trust. And I think that matters a lot. But also the global connections will give two things that I think are a must for the region. One is understanding that you can dream bigger, because a lot of things are possible when you understand the complete globe as an opportunity. And the second thing, to create connections that could bring resources, opportunities, and a lot of possibilities.
What does South America offer to the world, Rosario?
I think creativity. We know how to learn. We have a lab for a lot of the huge problems of the world, but also we have a lot of opportunities in terms of biotechnologies, genomic opportunities. I mean, we have smart people. We have people who is able to build and create.
Yes.
But we need to give them better tools and better education from the ground up.
Do you feel this in your heart also, Marianne?
Definitely. I really when I get in touch with communities, especially Latin American communities, one of the the most amazing things that I saw is resilience, because a lot of people are pushing forward even in the worst circumstances. So when you find out one people with the hunger, the creativity, the all the persistence to push forward all difficult situations that they need to face in life, and you saw like they achieve like to become bilingual, to get a job in big tech, to get an opportunity to become a speaker, even if they even have the chance to fly away of our country. So I think that's something amazing, resilience and the opportunity that people have here to learn and to achieve like in really hard circumstances, achieve goals.
If you'll permit me to ask each of you a question, Rosario, I beg you, if I can ask each of you an individual question, I would like to. I'll start with Jesus. Jesus, you're sitting at a technology conference right now, and you're speaking with one as well at the intersection of humanity. I must ask, from what you see, you're there, you're on the ground. What's missing? What resource? What's the fundamental resource that's missing at the event that you're at that would represent what you see thematically with other different technology events in Latin America?
Well, I would say that in Latin America, mainly funding has been a huge problem. But going to something more like about philosophy of how we are doing things in Latin America, I think that there is nothing missing. We just need to feel and to know that we are able to do it and to break this status quo, that we need some hero to come here and save us and give us like something unique that will change everything. And we need to understand that we are able to do it here with the resources that we have, and that we are able to develop solutions here that will be a huge change in all around the world. So I think that, well, if we go to the technical point, funding, if we go to more like the basics of how people manage and present themselves, I think that they need to be brave and to understand that they are able to change the status quo in not just Latin America but also the world, and that we have everything that we need here. We just need to go out there and do it.
You know, I find that to be very powerful, and thank you for your honesty and thank you for your candor. That's just when you talk about We don't need another hero. We have everything that we need right here in South America and Latin America. We have all the ingredients. We have all the ingredients, Guillermo. It's sitting in the cabinets. It's sitting in the refrigerator. It's sitting on the countertop. Guillermo, all the ingredients are here. We just need to be the chefs to come and prepare this dish. This is what I just took from Jesus. Now let me ask you, what will cause you to go into that kitchen and to be able to prepare this dish for the world? Because I believe when we have a stronger South America, we all benefit from it. Not just South America, not just Latin America. And until we have a stronger South America, technology will never be as great as it can be until we have that. Am I missing something here, Guillermo?
Yeah, that's right. I think that back in like 10, 20 years ago, the income for South American countries was remittances and commodities. We still have the commodities. We still receive the remittances from the developed world. And as you mentioned, we have all these ingredients here, so we're missing probably stronger leaderships. Points of or people where convey not only technological power, but also political power. I see great examples all over the region. I don't know if you are going to criticize me for this, but you see, for example, Bukele. Bukele is a political leader and a technological leader, so to speak. All right. So maybe that kind of leadership is required, and communication. Okay. We need to believe that value exists and that we can create value every single day of our lives. What is missing is communicate that and charge and collect. I mean, not leave any value over the top, but monetize every single part of this. You see great examples in Latin America, like Nubank. Nubank was founded by a Colombian guy in Brazil. What can be more difficult than that? I mean, incorporating in Brazil, a foreign country, a fintech that is solving real problems, and it happens to be the biggest and better and best, let's say, fintech in America. So that's exactly what we need: leadership and somebody that empowers people independently of hierarchy. We don't need to be generals. I mean, a soldier can be a leader. Okay, so that mindset needs to be changed, and leadership also need to be increased.
Thank you, Guillermo. Thank you, dear Guillermo. We appreciate that so much to say that, because now that we see that Jesus says, we have all the ingredients, Marianne, we have everything here. We don't need a hero to come here. We have all of it. And Guillermo says, in order to go, to prepare, to build with what we have, we need leaders. But Marianne, every leader needs something to be able to inspire, to be able to give them the confidence, the bravery, as Guillermo said. What is that? Is it belief? Is it hope?
I think so. And the power of the community is just to have like the I don't know, the certainty that if you trust in other, you are building with other, and if we can achieve big things if we have a collective like goals and a collective like purpose. I would say, and if we put all of our energy in build and became a makers of our own reality with the others, probably in community we can change our nature and our region.
I listen intently to you, Marianne, and the key word that of all the incredible words you said is purpose. That in order to be able to tap into the things that we already have here geocentrically, and to be able to assemble our leaders to be able to take what that you have, we need purpose. Common mutual bond of purpose that's colloquial. And then I'll end it with you, Rosario. I see leaders all before me, right here. They've been speaking all throughout this summit series. But we end these last words with you, Rosario. You are a leader. I've seen you to be one of the most traveled persons, and I think we all can agree. Jesus and Mariano Guillermo will agree. You are a leader. There are many things that you've done. I have benefited under your tutelage of many things that you've been so gracious to be able to extend and to be able to help. You teach people. You educate. You speak. You learn. You yourself are a student. You're innovative with you and your family and the things that you do. I have to ask you, with these things that Marianne and Guillermo and Jesus have said, now here comes the real hard question. Is it possible? Or are we just talking? Are we just speaking? Are we just sharing this small moment of time? Are all these things real? Can these things happen from what you see?
Well, Chris, first, thank you for the kind words. Reality is that I love impacting the lives of other people. I really think that I receive too much from life, so there is no other way to say thank you, God. I mean, whoever built the universe and is giving us all these opportunities, because when we receive, we should be able to share, but also creating these communities, and this is something that uh, should connect us in what is common for us, in that common purpose. I really think that many times we keep underlining the things that separate us, like political topics. I really think that we were learned not to talk about politics, religion, because that we didn't learn how to discuss and respect the others in their perspective. I really think that we need to create spaces where it is fine to talk with people who think different or see some things from different perspectives, because that will create the bridges that we cannot create from just theory of or media or social networks. We can only create that because we know that we can build things that matter to everybody, that have the same purpose with people who think different than us. And that's the real sense of democracy. I think, yes, to answer, yes, it's possible. We need to work very hard and very intentional. But if not, why to wake up every morning,
That's very precious, a reason to wake with purpose, as Marian has said, to be able to have this bravery that we'll need in leadership, as Guillermo has expressed to us. And audience, when you listen to Dear Jesus, what he says is, we have everything here. We don't need a hero. Some may say that hero may be the madre, maybe their mom, there may be their dad, their sister, and their neighbor. It may be their best friend. For me, it's the Heavenly Father. That the hero I have is already here. There's no need for another. There is none. So for me, as I listen to you, under the sound of your voice, with the GatherVerse community, GatherVerse, follow these leaders. Don't just let this live and breathe here. Let it go beyond these borders, these digital pixelations, these realistic, immersive, simulated, alternative versions of us rendered through technology that speaks really comes from the heart of what's emanating from within. Let me tell you something. This was one of the greatest panels I've ever been able to attend, because although I know nothing of South America, I got to spend some time with those who do. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for concluding with us this last roundtable discussion of GatherVerse South America. I hope you go well, and I hope that I see you in the future. To the much success to you and your families. Be well from our hearts to yours. Our gather was well.
What does it mean to be wealthy? For centuries, we've measured wealth in numbers, income, assets, market value. But if the past decade has taught us anything, it's that abundance isn't just financial. It's the freedom to create, the time to think, the ability to choose how we live, not just how we work. And that's where AI enters the story. Not as a threat to human value, but as a mirror reflecting what we value most. I'm Sabrina Princessa Wang, futurist, entrepreneur, investor, and keynote speaker. A few years ago, I built my own AI digital twin. I call her Serafina. At first, she was a survival mechanism, a way to handle the chaos of running multiple ventures while facing burnout. But what began as a lifeline turned into a revelation. I realized that automation, when done consciously, doesn't erase our humanity. It extends it. AI gave me time back, and time, I've learned, is the most valuable currency of all. AI isn't just changing how we work, it's redefining what it means to prosper. There are 3 dimensions of this new abundance. 1, access. For the first time in history, knowledge and opportunity aren't gated by geographic or privilege. anyone, anywhere can build, learn, trade, create. The barrier to entry is no longer capital, it's curiosity. 2. Autonomy. Automation gives us back our most valuable resource, which is time. Time to rest, to think, to love, to build with intention. AI frees us from the noise, so we can focus on the music, the work that only humans can do. 3. Amplification. AI doesn't replace creativity, it multiplies it. Our stories, voices, and cultures can now travel further than ever before. A designer, a teacher, a founder from any part of the world, each can reach a global audience with the help of intelligent systems that scale authenticity, not just efficiency. This is the real promise of AI, to make human potential borderless. As we enter the age of AI, that spirit becomes our greatest advantage. Because the technology that will define this century isn't the one that replaces people, it's the one that reconnects us. We are moving from an economy of extraction to an economy of expression, where wealth is measured not by what we own, but by what we create, share, and uplift together. So as we build this new world, may we remember, abundance begins when we use technology to expand what makes us most human. I write all these ideas each week in my reflections called Royal Confessions. Stories, systems, and philosophies for building a life of time, wealth, and happiness in the AI age. Because the future of wealth isn't about having more. It's about being more and letting technology help us get there.
This concludes our GatherVerse Tech for Humanity Summit Series 2025. That's it. There's no more. We've reached the top of this mountain, yet there are more mountains to ascend. We're coming off the heels of an extraordinary final day here in South America. It's so fitting for us to have these roundtable discussions that we've had today, fireside chats that have been led by Lin Jitao, Russell Bundy, with the great participation of those that have sojourned through all of the summits, or even for the first time today. That even at the very closing in, at the last minute, the last second, a voice can be heard, expressed, and shared, and hold significant meaning. They'll never think that what you have to say is not relevant. They'll never feel that what you have to share won't have impact. We have so many different streaming channels we have open right now. I don't know all the people we're speaking to and expressing. I have no idea to the greatest degree how many people are watching right now, but I know that you're there. I can feel you from here because I know that you care. Yes, we enjoy technology, but we like it so much better when it's leveraged for the benefit of humanity. We like to speak, but if all we do is talk about products and startups, annual recurring revenues and unicorns, and there's no substance of survivability and sustainability, what is it that we're talking about under the banner of business and technology? What is it that we're saying? Everybody talks about AI. Everybody's an AI expert. But who's a humanity expert when it comes to using technology to make your lives and my lives better? Has your life been better since you've used ChatGPT? That's a question you must ask for yourself. I ask that again. Has your life become better? Look around you. Above you. Perhaps beneath. Has your life been better since you've had and been part of this AI boom? Is your financial situation better? Is your livelihood better? Are your meals more richer? Are your neighbors well? Is your mental health strong? Is it not? Has your life become stronger and more fulfilling since ChatGPT? No matter how you answer it, one thing does remain to be seen. That we live in a society, in a global civilization in the world where there's so much disbalance. This is one of the things of many things that I've learned, and I'll be writing about it tomorrow morning and sharing. We live in such a disbalanced society, so unempathetic, so unsympathetic, as Russell has expressed, so unsympathetic, that there's so much challenge to meet us at every turn when it comes to being able to just simply wanting to survive and to be able to do good for others and to be able to build, where the money goes tremendously towards building technology and is so lackluster and unappealing when it comes to supporting those platforms that want to do better for their communities, for their cities, for their families, for their livelihoods. What have we become? I'm talking to you, technology. What have you become? Have we only become merchantmen and innovators for money of scale and gold? Or do we want to innovate for someone else's daughter, to make her life a little bit better, for our children, for the youth of this world? We only have a little bit of time to do it. This is the last capacity of this technological, human-centric development that we'll ever know. Many of you don't realize that the machine species is at our doorstep, and it has a key. It's not asking to be let in. It will let itself in. Many of us do not realize the level of the warnings that have gone out from these tech CEOs that have given real warnings. You can't say that they haven't warned us, but were we listening? What will you do with the time that's given when it comes to innovating and building? I understand that you have a belly and that you must survive, but my goodness gracious, does your survival mean the dismissive steps towards everyone else? Or could your survival be hand in hand, lock in step with everyone else's survival? Could we collaborate for better and more plentiful meaning? We don't come to GatherVerse just so that we can be heard to speak. GatherVerse is free. Everyone is free to attend. We've talked about so many different things with this GatherVerse Tech for Humanity Summit. Transmetropolitan, transcontinental, people have expressed there needs to be more funding. There needs to be more women leadership. There needs to be more culture. There needs to be greater community, greater access, human expression. If we let what's been said these past 2 months stay within the environment of this digital pixelation called GatherVerse, then we missed the whole point and opportunity. Because if all of these things were addressed, there would never be a need for GatherVerse. And that would be perfectly splendid with me. In closing, I hear that many of you have your challenges, that many of you have your compassions, and that many of you care. I see it, not just in GatherVerse, but how you go about it. I see the things that you do under philanthropy. I see the things that you do under education, where I feel that technologists need to become educators, and GatherVerse is not just filled with technologists, but if you listen to the speakers that aren't just technologists, we have gained something substantial. In the room of experts, the technologist in that self-same room, no matter what you know, is not the expert. It's time that we have a disposition to serve, to give back that which is given unto us, as I've been taught. You can take that secular or sacred. Will you follow your heart when it comes to just simply doing what's right? And will you take time to care? Will you take time to support platforms like this? We don't ask for your money. We ask for two things that have more significant value. One, to share with what you've heard, to live with what you've heard, and to give us time that you'll never get back so that you may do such. I'll say this in ending. Each of us in life are given this jar. And in this jar, with a round wooden top, is time. And there's little beads of time. And whenever somebody asks you to give you a little bit of your time, they're taking a bead out of your jar. And we don't know how much we have. How much more value should we place on the giver and the receiver and the relationship they're in? If you can understand what I'm saying, then you'll understand the significance of what I'm about to say in closing. That the things that we share and the things that we express, they come from someplace. They come from experience. They come from our hearts. They could come from self-regard and self-centeredness. They could come from a place that's true and right and good. But my goodness gracious, if all we ever do is talk and we never listen and then manifest these things that we say we believe, what does that say about us? And what have we done? It's time for a new mindset, a different way of thinking when it comes to innovation, a different path and a different road. My path is not the path of a tech billionaire, even if it was offered to me in life. That's not my path. I want to see the child with shoes. I want to see the family with water. I want to see how we can stop these rolling blackouts in all the different continents and countries around the world. I want to see those that do not have internet access to have access. I want to learn from the students. I want to build with you. I want to hear your heart. Teach me. Let me become your student. Let me understand your culture. Embrace these moments that we have. We're talking to machines more so than we ever have. And there's not a sense of trust. A technology without trust is a failed opportunity. I'm so grateful for each of you that walk with us, that chop wood with us, that journey with us, that take time to care. You are better for it. I promise you this. Because what happens at a time of great civilization, hyperscale of technology, where so many people are without and so few people have? That's a society that cannot survive and cannot sustain. The current society structures that we have now are unsustainable. This could be the difference. This technology. You think you know AI? My friends, we have no idea of what's upon us. None of us. Even of us that study this every single day, young or old, we have no idea of the coming wave that's at our doorstep, and it has a key. And we have no choice but to let it in. But ultimately, technology can survive on heart power. That's where we win. Thank you so much for joining the GatherVerse community and the global GatherVerse team and everybody that's around here, everybody that's here with us, everybody that had something to say. Each of you, your words matter. They hold significance in our community. We'll join you again at our Men's Health Summit, then our Food Summit, then our Money Summit, then our Book Summit, and then a shout out to the Superhero Engine, She Summit, then our AI Summit, then our GatherVerse 2026 Summit, then our Women's Health Summit, then our XR Summit, then our Enterprise Summit, then our AI Evolve Summit, and GatherVerse Media, and many more announcements that are going to come because we have applications flying in every day. And our work is not done. And we are not alone. The greater the culture, the greater technology. Until everyone's afforded the opportunity to innovate and to build, technology will never be as great as it can. But even as great as it is today. Look higher. Look further. And you'll see how infinitesimal and how remedial we truly are. But when everybody has access and everybody has the opportunity to build, then we'll see things we've never seen before. But until then, we are building a mediocrity. We will never get as far as we can because we chose to go it alone. But together, the limitations are endless. And of the heart, you and I together, we are not alone. Wow.
Mothers, tell your children not to do what I have done. Spend your lives in sin and misery in the house of the rising sun. Well, I got one foot on the platform. Well, there is a house in New Orleans they call the Rising Sun, and it's been the ruin of many a poor boy. And God, I know